All right. All right. All right. There we go. What is going on, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? Yeah, I'll add a minute. Hold on. The hell? What is going on here? What is going on, everybody? You guys like the latest chapter? You guys like that chapter? Oda's been on a fucking roll. Here we go. All right. Just gonna quickly show this. All right. We are changing it. Up one. All right. Yeah. How'd you guys like the latest chapter? I got a few supers to catch real quick. Let's see here. Oh, Bunfagun, thanks. Oh, thanks for the 14. I find it interesting that Oda's group saw Robin, Bonnie, the kids, and Lilith in the library completely unguarded, the same place Shamrock is heading. This could be leading into Bonnie's heritage. Oh, shit. Wait a second. First of all, let's get the stream likes up to 50. Second of all, let me check this. Where does it specifically say Shamrock says he's heading to the library? Am I crazy? Was that the last chapter? Let's take a look. Hold on. Let's take a look. So last chapter, they said, let's start by taking their children hostage. Yeah, you're right. We'll need an extra person. Holy shit. Understood. Who shall I call? All right, yeah. Damn. We'll need an extra person. I'm so curious. So, like, because the tricky thing with Elbaf is that although it's all, like, obviously one island, it's a huge island, right? So it's kind of like it's probably one of the biggest islands that we've ever been to. Maybe the biggest. Just it's for the giants. So it's really difficult to travel quickly across the island. That's why they have those ships. But that does mean that if they ambushed people there, we don't get a good idea of how strong they're going to be because nobody's really there to guard them, right? So we don't get a Luffy or Zoro matchup against them. We could potentially get Sanji. Yeah, they just said they're getting the children. Yep. Either school or library, I think. Yep. You're right. Yeah, kids are with Bonnie. Yeah, who liked the video that came out this Tuesday? Was that a good ass video? Let's be honest here. Best explanation of the mural and the three worlds? Is that it? I looked around after the video came out. I was like, okay, now let's see what other people are saying. I don't see other good explanations. The most I see is other people covering like what's in the mural, and everybody has roughly the same shit. Like, oh look, it's fucking Poseidon. Oh look, it's fucking Noah. It's like, yeah, that's the basic stuff. That was covered in the first like 2 minutes of the video. Best explanation of the mural? Can we agree on that? Right? Am I crazy? I think that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Carnage, thanks to the 2. Do you think Gaban is the man marked by flames? Do I think Gaban is the man marked by flames? On the one hand, I feel like we don't know. So what would you call this stuff? Is that him being the man marked by flames? The stuff on his face? Is that? Is it a burn mark? Is it a slash mark? Is it a burn mark? Is it a slash mark? If you wanted to make it a burn mark, I feel like he could have made it a little bit more clear. But maybe it's supposed to be a surprise to us. Akash Panda, thanks for the 5. I bet on your theory because I trusted you. Now Gaban shows up with a flame scar on his forehead. Yumi, a man marked with flames who works for the world god. Oh, wait. So are we decide? Is Gaban the man marked by flames? Is that an agreement thing? Is most people on board with that then? Zolden, thanks for the 5. Hey Morj, I agree with you about Scopper not being that exciting, but I think the chapter did a good job hyping him up. I think I just underestimated how hype Oda could make Scopper. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, I feel like this is I think it's because, even if you assume that Scopper is equal to Rayleigh, let's say Scopper's straight up equal to Rayleigh, right? That's its own whole can of worms or whatever. But even if you assume that, for me, seeing Luffy fight, like, someone Rayleigh's level right now is not interesting. Because I think I and many others feel that Luffy's past that, you know, at least, like, old version of Rayleigh, right? Like, the current Rayleigh that we have. Like, most of us probably feel like Luffy's past that some time back. Like, you know, Rayleigh's obviously in his prime was amazing, but last we saw him in action at Sabaody, he was holding his own against Kizaru, right? He was holding his own against Kizaru, but holy shit, my hair. He was holding his own against Kizaru, but it was clear that he wasn't gonna last forever against Kizaru, right? So it's basically like, and we can presume that the Kizaru that Luffy, like, it just doesn't feel that as exciting to imagine Luffy going up against, like, a Rayleigh level character at this point, because in my mind, at where Rayleigh would be right now is somewhere a little bit below the Admirals. That's kind of how I kind of personally place him. Some would even, you know, you could debate back and forth. Has Zoro passed Rayleigh already? We're talking about old Rayleigh here, right? Rayleigh as he is right now. Has Zoro passed Rayleigh? Some would debate yes, some would debate no. You know, that's up to interpretation. Rayleigh made clear that he, at this age, he can't take someone like Blackbeard. So just in general, when I was saying I'm not that hyped for the idea of it being Scopper, it's just because at this point in time, being like Rayleigh's level at this point in the story doesn't seem that notable. At least old Rayleigh level, right? So even if Scopper's dead even with Rayleigh, it's just not that exciting on paper. But then you forget something, which is that presentation is a thing, right? Presentation is a thing. And Oda did a phenomenal job introducing Scopper to us in a manner that feels really, really hype and impactful and just, like, introduces a whole new legend into the story for us. So, and the personality. I think the personality is a really big thing. Scopper's personality is not like, you can see glimpses. I went back and looked at a bunch of chapters that had Scopper in them beforehand. You can see a lot of glimpses of Scopper's personality. He is a lot more brash and kind of like fiery personality than Rayleigh. It's interesting. It's cool that neither Scopper has similarities to Sanji, much like Zoro has similarities to Rayleigh, but they're fundamentally very different personalities from their counterparts. Scopper is not, if you go back and read other chapters, Scopper is not like Sanji is, just like Rayleigh is a lot more, Rayleigh is a lot more calm and intellectual in many ways that Zoro isn't, right? I like that because Luffy is very, very similar personality-wise to Roger, but I like that Oda's differentiating. He's making parallels between the right and left-hand man of both crews, but he's not making them carbon copies. That would be, you know, this isn't Naruto or something like that, where we see the same fucking dynamic duplicated 20 times over. Anyway. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, you guys like that video? We're covering this. Yeah, so I thought Scopper's introduction is actually one of the best introductions in the story, straight up. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick, because we all like the chapter. Frederick Leo, thanks for the 5. Thoughts on the fact that Gunko's arrow fruit is quite similar to the arrow that stabbed Cobra? I don't know about that. I'm not thinking too much about, going to read too much into that, just because I just don't interpret there being any connection, because Gunko wasn't in that scene, right? Justin Holland, thanks for the 5. The tame Master Roshi of One Piece is in the house. Yeah, the tame Master Roshi. More to the murder mystery. Yeah, the murder mystery is heating up, and it's already 10 times more interesting than whatever the fuck the murder mystery was in Egghead, simply because Loki's a far more interesting... Loki's such an interesting, captivating character already, and Oda's presented him in a manner where it's just like, we really want to get to the bottom of who is this guy, and what do we make of him? Like, what do we make of his character? What do we make of his morality, all of that. Like, it's a very, very interesting storyline just because of the impact it's already had on the nation of Elbaf, the strongest nation in the world, and King Harold. Like, there's already so much speculation. Like, is this Kaido's dad or something? Still digesting the mural. No need to digest, just watch that video. Can't wait to see what Gaban brings here. Yeah. I like, we don't know how much of a challenge Gaban's ultimately going to give Luffy. If we see Luffy, actually struggling against Gaban or something like that, that would be insane, just because it would be like, holy shit, Gaban, at least at his current age, is definitely stronger than Rayleigh, right? Maybe Gaban just stayed more in shape. That's possible. He chose to shack up at the Island of Giants, whereas Rayleigh made clear that he hasn't fought with a sword in a long time. So that would be really, really cool to see. It would also be somewhat confusing. It's just like, okay, so how fucking strong is Gaban supposed to be then? I'm excited. I have high hopes for Gaban here. Lobby Warsaw, thanks for the 10. I loved your video. One question: we saw Lunarian with a fruit beaten by Haki and sword skill alone. So how did they conquer the humans? Did Haki not exist yet? Was it born with the fruits? But what you're talking about is like, yeah, one Lunarian warrior, so King, was defeated. Also, let's be real, the pterodactyl fruit didn't have much relevance later on in the fight. King was pretty much exclusively fighting with his normal form, right? But you got to be clear, like, if you were to do a top 30 of strongest One Piece characters, right, today, Zoro's in that top 30, right? Now that he's unlocked Advanced Conqueror's Haki and everything like that, right? You got to understand, King lost to a character that unlocked Advanced Conqueror's Haki. The percentage of humans on the planet, right, who can unlock Conqueror's Haki, or Advanced Conqueror, the percentage who can unlock Conqueror's Haki is 1 in a million. The percentage who have Advanced Conqueror's Haki, who can actually utilize it, which seems to be the at least very important to defeat. I'm not saying it's an absolute necessity. I'm sure admirals could take Lunarians, like Green Bull is implied to be able to, etc. But, like, you're talking about the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Like, you know how, like, it's not like, oh, well, King lost to Zoro, so it's like, how big of a deal are Lunarians? It's like, this is one Lunarian. Like, this is just the standard ability set that Lunarians have, right? Which is, they are that indestructible. They can create fire, magma, shit like that. Like, an entire race of those beings. Like, you know how many Advanced Conqueror's Haki users you would need to actually overthrow them? Who the fuck even knows? Like, can you imagine? Like, yeah, Zoro beat King. How do you beat, like, could Zoro beat an army of kings? How many Zoros would you need to defeat an army of kings? You would need an army of Zoros. An army of Zoros doesn't exist. You can count with 2 hands the number of people on the planet who likely have Advanced Conqueror's Haki, right? That's fucking insane, considering they had to be up against an entire race of those types. And you can just look in fucking Egghead, right? Luffy, Zoro, Lucci, Kaku, several of the strongest humans on the planet. 2 Lunarians were still, like, Luffy just fucking fought Kaido. He's trying to hit the Lunarians. He's literally drawing the comparison to Kaido. He's like, what are you guys, Kaido? I can't damage you. That's fucking Luffy, a Yonko talking. Now, granted, I do believe that Luffy could damage the Lunarians if he's, like, really, really going all out and going serious. I do believe he could do that. But you got to understand that just when the standard base ability set of Lunarian is, like, you need to be the absolute tippy top of humans to even scratch them, yeah, they're going to have, like, no trouble ruling over a race of humans. It's kind of like saying, well, like, you know, just because you could, like, Usopp beat a fishman in Fishman Island, or, like, Arlong Park, but, like, that doesn't change the fact that, in general, the average fishman is 10 times stronger than the average human by a huge amount, you know? Akash Panda, thanks to the 5. Shamrock said their plan needs a 3rd Holy Knight. They have come to a summoning circle in the castle to summon a 3rd Holy Knight. Luffy versus Shamrock. Great point, Akash Panda. I love that. Phenomenal point. That's a great point, dude, because the summoning circle does seem to be where they need to do it. So they go back to the castle to summon this 3rd Holy Knight, most likely. We get the encounter. We get an idea of how strong Gaban is, because I'm sure that Luffy, Zoro versus Gaban or whatever might get interrupted. What if we get Zoro versus Gaban? That'd be kind of cool. Marco Castillo, Cadillo, thanks for the 2. Delaying the stream should be worth 20 points. No, I have the right to delay the stream as long as it's far enough in advance. I've never abused, let it be known, I've never abused my right to delay the stream. I've never done it, and I've never done it I'm saying since we did the late penalty thing. Since we did the late penalty thing, I've never changed the stream 30 minutes beforehand or something like that. You know what I mean? This was over an hour in advance. Scopper Gaban! Holy shit! You must be creaming yourself right now. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick. Let's get to 150 first. FKA, Brook is the GOAT. Scopper Gaban is a legend. What did Brook is the GOAT do? Hold on, let's see. Did I miss something? Okay, we'll see later. Scopper Gaban is a legend, the equal to Roger and Rayleigh, the father of the strongest OP kid, got with a giant baddie, hail Gaban. I just love how Oda carved out his own legend for Gaban, right? It wasn't just, because, it wasn't just this dude also existed alongside Rayleigh. He really did a lot to make Gaban very, very distinct from his, love adventures, his love-based adventures, the fact that he seems to be just personality-wise kind of wild, right? Kind of wild. He's I love exploring. I love... he seems to be more of a go out and about, very adventurous personality. The whole mountain, the mountain eater aspect of things, you kind of get, the image of this berserker type fighter, whereas many of us might have been expecting Sanji. But again, if you really go back and read all of Scopper's prior dialogue, he is a very different personality type from Sanji. He just has a strong similarity in terms of, the love aspect and everything like that. So I like that. I like how Oda's made Rayleigh distinct from Zoro, Gaban distinct from Sanji. The getting with Ripley is just such a fucking insane character-defining way to introduce a character like Gaban, right? It says so much about him. It's just I really, really love this character so far. And it says, if you're a Sanji fan, you are loving this chapter because it confirms so much for Sanji's character that frankly has it gets questioned throughout the story at various points. It confirms so much about the character's significance to the Straw Hat Crew dynamic, and just more importantly where he's going to end up end of story wise, because I think that's always a contentious topic where the problem with Sanji is that he does it before this chapter. He did not have a clear end point, reference point in terms of where he's supposed to end up strength wise, because Luffy's always had Roger, right? Luffy's always had Roger, so we always knew Luffy will get to Roger's level / surpass it. And then later on, we got Joy Boy even in the mix too. Zoro has Mihawk, right? We always knew Zoro would Zoro has Mihawk, he had Rayleigh, these are characters who are classified as legends. Characters like Garp talking about them as legends. You have Blackbeard terrified of Rayleigh's reputation. Rayleigh, apparently everybody knows Rayleigh's name worldwide, right? Rayleigh's established to be a huge legend. And then on top of that, you've got Mihawk, obviously, world's strongest swordsman, legend in his own right off that. So you already know where Zoro's supposed to. You've got these bars for where Luffy's supposed to reach at minimum. You've got these bars for where Zoro's supposed to reach at minimum. With Sanji, we never really had an equivalent because there's not really a clear counterpart. We knew that Scopper Gaban existed, but outside of just seeing him side by side with Rayleigh in that one chapter during the Odin flashback, we never really had much context for how significant he is. What does that even tell us? Is that guy admiral level? Was that guy what? We didn't really have a clear context. With Sanji, we don't even have an endgame opponent that's locked in for him. For a long time, people were Sanji will fight Kizaru at the end of the story. I don't know if Sanji's going to fight Kizaru at the end of the story. I don't know if Kizaru's even going to be a villain at the end of the story. There was no final reference point for what is Sanji supposed to be. We could only trust that Oda has consistently kept Sanji as part of the monster trio throughout the story. He's consistently drawn those parallels between Zoro and Sanji, right and left hand of the Pirate King. So we could only trust that Oda had big plans for Sanji. Now, finally, it's established clear as day that, this is how, Sanji has a parallel in the Pirate King's crew, and that parallel in the Pirate King's crew, he's in that same tier in terms of greatness as Roger and Rayleigh. He's right up there with them. He is going to be whatever Zoro ends up at the end of the story, Sanji's gonna be up there as well, right? I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of even or what, blah 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 blah, but we know that at the very least, Sanji's he's gonna be in the same convos, right? Where it's not gonna be like Luffy's up here and Zoro's up here and Sanji's down here. That's not gonna happen, right? It's gonna be, Sanji's gonna be right there with him. That is so important for, like, you could just trust over the course of the story that Oda would do this, right? You could trust, but the reality is that Oda does do Sanji dirty at a lot of different points in the story, and he just never gave us like a clear, definitive like end point for what the character's supposed to be. It doesn't help that Oda does certain funny jokes of like Jinbei getting a higher bounty than Sanji. Obviously, bounty isn't everything, but it's just stuff that will fuel certain discussions like Sanji's number 4, ha 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 ha, right? Like, I think it's really, really great that Oda put that stuff to bed, and I think the most important thing is that he defines something for the monster trio that's never going to change, that I talk about at length in next week's video. Anyway, continuing on. Where are we at? Sith Lord, thanks for the 5. Colin is so lucky, only character with both living by parents and a loving family. Holy shit, what a great fucking point. And what a bizarre family it is, too. You almost never see this shit. Like, fucking Momonosuke, Tama, like, Bonnie, like, all these kids are just out and about, just, like, fucking sad as fuck, with no parents, no family, or whatever. Colin's a fucking privileged-ass kid in One Piece. Fuck Colin. All the other kids in One Piece hate Colin. Let's get the stream likes up to 150. Like the stream if you think fuck Colin. Also, fuck Colin for being 20 years old. He's not a kid. Grow the fuck up. Like, he's acting like he's East Blue Luffy, talking about, like, oh boy, Shanks, are we gonna fight? Like, are we gonna go fight? Can I go? Shanks telling a 20-year-old grown-ass man, you're too young to come on my ship? The fuck? What the fuck? This is fucking older than Luffy. I'm not calling Colin a kid anymore. He's literally a grown-ass dude. He's literally an adult. He's older than Luffy. I don't want to see any sort of mentor relationship between Luffy and Colin either. This is not Luffy Bonnie. This is not Luffy Momonosuke. This is not Luffy Tama. This kid is a fraud. He is a fraud child. He's just a grown-up that seems to be getting away with pretending he's a kid. Fuck Colin. Strahd Shaco, thanks for being a member for 28 months. Third God's Knight summon during fight. Gaban teaching Luffy Haki. I don't know if Gaban will teach Luffy Haki. I feel like where we're at this point in the story, it's hard to imagine. I know that I feel like the next I feel like Luffy should be pretty much good with everything he's got to know for advanced armament Haki. Pretty much good with everything he's got to know for advanced observation Haki. The areas he would have to grow would be Conqueror's Haki, advanced Conqueror's Haki, assuming there's more levels to that. I don't know if Gaban would necessarily teach that. Like, put it this way, I don't know if Rayleigh can do, based on like Rayleigh and Kizaru, their duel, I don't know if Rayleigh can do advanced Conqueror's Haki at his current age anymore. You know, at his current age, I don't know if Rayleigh can pull that shit off. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick, because L, as you said, Sanji stocks are up. This is no joke. I'm serious. Maybe the single most important Sanji chapter for setting to bed what his significance, what his role is in the series ever. I think this is the biggest one ever. Because it cements something that's somewhat permanent. Like, I feel like with Sanji, the character's always having to prove over and over again that the monster trio is still a thing, right? He's just always having to prove throughout the story that, like, because you go gaps of time where Oda will just use Sanji to comic effect or like to hype up other characters and things like that over and over. You will go through stretches. Like, there are times that Oda will remind you, like, look, all three of them versus the Pacifista. Oh yeah, all three of them versus the Kraken and like Sabaody and all that. Like, keep highlighting the trio in Fishman Island, and then you'll just go through a stretch of like 300 chapters till Wano where Sanji doesn't really get that much. He may, I don't know, like, he is treated less than in some senses, or not. He's disrespected by Oda in some ways, I think. And then finally we got to Wano, and then you had, okay, Luffy's beating Kaido, Zoro's beating King, Sanji's beating Queen, everything's back together the way it should be. Good, right? Like, that stuff is important, but it just feels like he's always, like, I think enough time passes and then the conversations come up again. It's like, oh, is Sanji about to fight Kizaru? Oh, no, Sanji let Vegapunk die. Okay, now all these conversations are going to happen again about shitting on Sanji, number 4, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's a recurring thing. From this chapter onwards, there will never be a conversation again with anyone that has a brain. There will never be a conversation again of the notion that Sanji is not supposed to be up there at the end of the story with Luffy and Zoro. That conversation is dead. It's dead forever. Thankfully. Because it's one of the most toxic conversations in the story. Because if you want to argue Zoro stronger than Sanji, I personally think Zoro is stronger than Sanji. You can always debate the gap, right? I do think Zoro is obviously stronger than Sanji to me, but you can always debate the gap, right? Same as Luffy is obviously stronger than Zoro to me. You can debate the gap, right? But in my mind, the whole overall trio of Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, it's still ultimately supposed to be a trio, right? Like, they're not all, that doesn't mean they're all equal, but they're all in the same vicinity, in my opinion. Like, I don't think Zoro's that far off from Luffy, contrary to a lot of people. I just look at what Zoro did to Kaido in Ashura mode before Zoro even mastered Advanced Conqueror's Haki, and I'm like, I don't know how you could possibly argue that there's, like, if Zoro's doing everything he can do and putting Ashura Advanced Conqueror's Haki on the table, that he's that far off from Luffy. I don't know how you could argue that. Same thing with Sanji. You look at how easily he beat Queen. You can't tell me that Sanji with Ifrit Jambe doesn't have a great shot at beating plenty of other Yonko Force mates, just like Zoro can. That's my thoughts, and I think the end of the story will play that out. I just think that Oda does not write Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji the way he writes traditional captain-subordinate groups, because they're not meant to model Yonko crews, where there's a big gap between the captain and his subordinates. They're meant to model the Roger Pirates, where there is a much tighter trio, right? There's a tight trio that define the Roger Pirates between gold, silver, and copper, right? That's the trio of fighters at the top. It's not Roger and then way down 3 commanders. It's Roger, Rayleigh, Gaban. That's the trio. Anyway, continuing on. Cheesy Skull, thanks for me, Yonko tier member for 8 months. Hey Morj, hope you had a good week. Who do you think is more likely to die in Elbaf, Scopper or Loki? Loki, if I had to pick one. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200. Also, I am having a good week. Thank you very much. I'm having a good week. It's not even about, like, I think that comparable feats, etc., blah, blah, blah. Like, at this point, we no longer have to worry about what feats Sanji is getting all the time. I think Oda will continue to use Sanji to hype up characters at the end of the day. But now we finally have something that was missing this whole time, which is just an end point for where Sanji is supposed to end up. And as long as you have an end point for where Sanji is supposed to end up, you can have faith that at the end of the day, he's going to be up there, right? He's going to be up there. He's going to be up there with the greats, right? He's going to be a legend. Again, it's the same way Zoro has a clear end point, right? Like, Mihawk, Rayleigh, some would argue Ryuma or whatever, like he's got this stuff that's clearly legendary all-time great stuff that he is set to settle amongst or surpass even, you know? Continuing on. Stormfox, thanks for 2. Zoro fans have made me stop liking Zoro. I think that's very understandable. They could be a aggressive group. L, thanks to the 5, says, so are we getting the Bollywood dance? Unfortunately, no, because that's never been an option. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick. Anime Awakening, thanks for gifting 5 memberships. Holy shit. People say thank you to Anime Awakening. If you just got a membership from Anime Awakening, make sure you say thank you. Let's see. What do we see in here? Hold on. I can't see who all got the memberships from Anime Awakening. If you got a membership from Anime Awakening, make sure to say thanks. Thank you for coming through the stream, man. I hope you enjoyed the chapter. And yeah, I appreciate it, as do everyone in stream. Anytime somebody gifts memberships in streams, y'all just make sure to say thanks, because maybe one day you get gifted a membership, you know? Anime Dimension, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 27 months. Also, Pirate King tier members, that's basically top tier of YouTube, top tier of Patreon or whatever. The podcast submissions are open, so make sure to get your questions in for the Pirate King podcast. Submissions are still open. I'm probably going to record over the course of this weekend. It's an hour to hour and a half long podcast wherein I talk about literally anything that you ask me about, One Piece, other anime, manga, movies, video games, real life, NBA, whatever you want to talk about. I answer that in depth on the podcast, and I answer every single question fairly in depth. So if you want to get in on that, you can join Pirate King tier. Yeah, so the submissions are going on right now, and it's a monthly podcast. Who is talking to Loki on the transponder snail in chapter 1134? Loki asks the Shaggy guy if he's still traumatized. It's not Gaban. I think it's Jarl or someone else still lingering in Elbaf. The thing is that Jarl, doesn't Loki imply that he's never seen him? I feel like it's somebody that we haven't met yet because the character sounds cowardly. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's someone we haven't met yet. I still want a better translation of that Shaggy comment because I don't know what it really means exactly. Cross Guild employee, that's funny. Thanks for the 5. Morj, glad to catch you live. Glad to have you be able to join me live. What are your thoughts on Shamrock being Bonnie's dad and him taking her this arc? Probably not, but I've been pondering. I think Shamrock being Bonnie's dad, I would love that development because I just love One Piece arcs that feel very cohesive, where it feels like there's something that's planned out for all of the crew, right? And that's the thing that I'm loving the most about Elbaf, like for all of the main characters, I would say, right? That's something that I think was solely missing for Wano, wherein the Straw Hats just existed basically as like random NPC filler characters to do odd job tasks for pretty much the entire arc up until finally it's Onigashima time, and then they get fights, right? I prefer storylines where it feels like there's actual storylines that connect everything for the main characters and their story arcs and the themes of the arc overall, etc. I love the possibility of Bonnie and Shamrock, that being a connection there, because there is a theme of fatherhood that is slowly developing in Elbaf that can play out in a variety of different ways, especially if Yassop shows up as well, especially if Shanks shows up as well, because Shanks kind of plays that role towards Luffy. There's a lot of things that potentially connect here. I would love that for Bonnie, the whole Bonnie-Kuma storyline. I would love the direction that goes. Some people even said that Gunko might be Ginny, some clone zombified version of Ginny or something. I don't know. That's its own separate tree. But if you just sit back and really look, right, the beautiful thing that's happening for the Straw Hat crew right now, I think it's literally just fucking Brook and Jinbei that are missing story setups for them. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, they're going to be set because Oda's already focusing on them. He's already running the story through them. So whatever there is for them, it's happening right now. It's developing as we watch. Usopp, we already know. Oda's told us a million times for the past God knows how many years. Elbaf is going to have great shit for Usopp. Usopp checked off. Robin Salt. Lore, so much lore hidden in Elbaf. Finally a character for Robin to actually play off in a serious way that actually goes to her character and meaningful interactions and drawing significant stuff out of her. She finally has someone for that, right? Even though Saul being alive is terrible, it at least serves a good purpose for Robin's character. It's a damn shame Oda couldn't think of a better way to involve Robin's character, but here we have one, right? Frankie and the Atom Tree. His fucking storyline began with the Atom Tree. He fucking had his crew jump Usopp so that he could get some of that, he could get some of that sweet, sweet Atom Tree, right? Frankie and the Atom Tree, it's just such a perfect fit. And the potential to upgrade the Sunny with all of this, potential to create Pluton, all of that fits as well. Frankie being taken care of. Sanji, you're sitting over there, it's like, what's Sanji going to do in Elbaf? And then fucking Scopper Gaban shows up. The Sanji parallel of the future. It's fucking perfect. Every Straw Hat, I love this so much. Every Straw Hat you're going down the list, and it's just like, it's all just connecting. And if you think Bonnie is supposed to be a Straw Hat, because maybe she is, well, then we got the Shamrock storyline potentially up in there, right? At the very least, Kuma stuff, there's still more happening, but it's just, it's finally happening. We're finally getting an arc, potentially, it seems like, where all the Straw Hats are being treated like characters, like the main characters of the story, like we were originally sold on One Piece for, like we were told for so long. They're finally back to being the main characters, potentially. Isn't that amazing? So I'm excited about that. I truly believe that Elbaf is set up to be maybe the best arc in One Piece at this point, just because there's so much planning that seems to have been involved. Let's continue on. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 250 real quick, because we're liking this series so much right now. Supersonic Squad, thanks to the 5. Scopper said there was a strong Haki surge when Gunko and Shamrock arrived, just like the Elders. The magic circles could be weird applications of Haki. That's possibly true as well. Because when Saturn arrived, there was a whole shit ton of Haki lightning that came out of there. You're right. Maybe it's Emu's Haki or something that's allowing them to travel. I've had questions about Imu's Haki ever since that scene that he should have sent himself with Joy Boy, because someone with strong Haki doesn't really do that. But, let's wait and see. Marcel Beans, good to see you. Thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 13 months. I hope you get your submissions in for the Pirate King podcast. Why did no one else sense the Haki coming from the castle except for Scopper Gaban? Scopper Gaban greater than everyone else on Elbaf confirmed. That's a good point. Maybe Scopper was physically closer to the castle, because this is just me trying to rationalize, right? I'm just trying to rationalize. Elbaf is a vast, vast island, so keep in mind, just because they're all in the Sun Realm, like, it's a giant-sized island. So, like, contextually, if you recall, the lake that the Straw Hats had to cross to get to the school and the library and everything like that, for the Giants, that's a lake. From the Straw Hats, the first thing that they said upon seeing it is that this is basically like a fucking ocean in the middle of the island. So, like, the scope of, even though Elbaf almost feels kind of small just with the way that characters are zipping around through it, but you got to remember that a large part of that is because they got these boats that can allow them to zip around, right? If they actually had to travel by land, like, say, Alabasta, it's probably a fucking Alabasta-sized nation, and then it's got 3 tiers to it too. So it's possible that Gaban was already closer in proximity to the castle than the Straw Hats were. But I would have to go back and actually see if that's the case. That might be inaccurate. I just remember the Straw Hats. That might be inaccurate. I don't know. It's possible Gaban was closer, but it's also possible that that's not the case. It's possible Gaban just has better observation Haki than they do. That's completely possible as well. Having the strongest observation doesn't make you the strongest character. Otherwise, Fujitora would be the strongest character. But at least Gaban might have better observation Haki than Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji right now. Interestingly, though, Luffy was the only one who was able to sense Loki from way far away. I don't know. Maybe Oda picks and chooses? I don't know. It's interesting. Son, thanks for the 5. You were afraid of hunting competition, but you forgot Oda was the biggest Sanji target all along. People now wish it was a draw in a hunting game, LMAO. Hey, thanks for your first super ever. People now wish it was a draw in the hunting game. Oh, you're saying, like, doing it again? I think people are under a misconception if they think that I have some anti-Sanji agenda. I have always been on the train of I like the monster trio being a trio. Just because I argue heavily that Zoro is stronger than Kid and Law and Sabo and the Bums, right? Just because I put Zoro above the Bums doesn't mean that I don't also... If you go back to, like, the last top 30 I did... I was low-key trying to put Sanji above Law and Kid and Sabo as well, but I was sensing some degree of... If you just go back and watch... Not my all-time top 30. Go back and watch the last top 30 I did. Was it the last top 30, or was it the one that I did... One of the last 2 top 30s I did, I think I always have difficulty where to put Sanji in the top 30, because I think while a lot of people will be okay with me putting Zoro above the Bums... Kid, Law, Sabo, right? There's always a lot of friction when it comes to where to put Sanji, because I think Sanji's in a range where you could put him, you could argue that he is above also Law, Kid, Sabo, King, those type of characters. You could argue that he's above them, but you just get so much backlash over it that it's just not worth the fight, in my opinion, because I think Sanji often doesn't have the feats for it, but he just has the implied status relative to Zoro. So then a lot of it comes down to how much do you value the implied status relative to Zoro, and then that's always its own debate, right? When I say Sanji doesn't have the feats for it, I mean, like, beating Queen is very, like, as easily as Sanji did once he got Ifrit is very, very impressive, but he didn't really get to, like, fight Kaido and Big Mom like Zoro. He didn't really get to scar Kaido like Zoro, or, like, do anything against Kaido like Zoro. So it's kind of like you have to make a lot of assumptions about Sanji, like how tightly does Oda want to tie him to Zoro in terms of strength? And there's always going to be arguments either way regarding that. I think that this chapter was huge for kind of cementing that it is, like, from now on, when I do rankings of top 30s or whatever, I'm going to put Sanji a lot closer to Zoro. And I'm just going to reference this as basically, look, at the end of the day, right and left hand, right? Yeah, Sanji's going to beat a bum like Law. He's too fucking fast. I don't know what the fuck law would do against him. He's gonna beat a bum like Kid. He's too fucking fast. I don't know what. Well, is he? How do exoskeletons work? Is Sanji made of metal? No, that's. I don't know how exoskeletons. No, he's not made of metal, right? He's not made of metal. He's beating bums like Law, Kid, and Sabo. That's for sure. He's beating the bums. The bums below Sanji from here on. The bums are below Sanji. And if you're a Zoro fan, you should not feel any sort of insecurity about that, because I'm still going to put Zoro above the bums too. It doesn't hurt you if Sanji is also put up there. You know? It doesn't hurt you. That's the biggest thing. I have high opinions of Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. I think my opinions of those three characters are higher than most people have of those three characters. It's just for some reason, people get upset because they're such fans of the bums that it gets in the way of the fucking main characters of the story. Before the Luffy, Law, Kid trio existed, the fake bum trio, it was Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. That's the real trio. That's the only trio you need. This is just a bum trio that Oda threw in way later in the story, but it's not going to be better than the legit OG trio. You think Oda's writing the story thinking like, yes, Kid and Law, these are my preferred characters over Zoro and Sanji. Fuck no. I don't think there needs to be as much. I think with Zoro and Sanji, the only thing that the debate needs to be is like, there's going to be some Sanji fans who argue that he's straight up equal to Zoro, and some Zoro fans who argue that, like, plenty of Sanji fans will argue that he's straight up equal to Zoro, and plenty of Zoro fans are going to argue that he's stronger than Sanji. That's fine. Those debates are fine. I think once it gets down to like, we need to really shit on Sanji to like make it seem like the gap is like here to here, that's just when it gets really, really toxic. That's when it gets really, really toxic. I don't think, I think people should just be happy with scaling both Zoro and Sanji high, because they're much better characters, much more important characters than the bums. Kid, Law, Sabo. All right? I'm just going to refer to them as the bums from now on. Anyway, continuing on. Also, let's get the stream lights up to 300 real quick. Marco Cadito, thanks for the 5. Ask chat, put up a poll if delaying a stream should result in 20 points added automatically. Morj thinks he's sneaky, even the mod agrees, lol. No, because I'll put up a poll, but then I'll just ignore the poll, so I don't really know where we go with that. Kosh Panda, thanks for the 2. End of story strides, clear every faction in all 3 worlds. I agree. Maybe not the Rocks Pirates, because that was some ridiculous bullshit. Also, I don't know if End of Story Strides can beat, like, all of the Celestial Dragons at once. So I don't know what you mean by every faction. I would say they beat every reasonable pirate crew that existed. I'll say that. Karchi says, but Sabo was able to escape from Imu. Yeah, exactly. If this was a competition about who can run away the best, I'd give it to Sabo. He'd be number 1. He'd be top 1 in the verse. If we're looking at actual fighting and feats, unfortunately Sabo scales to, I don't know, better than Burgess, but not equal to not trying Fujitora, which is kind of an insanely low bar. Naranjan Pundit, thanks for the 2. Thoughts on Oda setting up Gaban versus Luffy? I think that this could be a really exciting showcase for Gaban, obviously. I feel like we might get, now that it's been brought up in this stream, that we're probably on our way to it being broken up by Shamrock, etc. I think that this will be a fight that, as Oda likes to do with so many fights, cut it short before it's conclusive. So we likely get to see Gaban flex. I don't think Oda would have Luffy lose straight up here. But the energy that I'm getting from Gaban is that we are supposed to, we're supposed to take this dude very seriously. So this is not going to be like, I don't think it's going to be easy for Luffy, whatever happens next. Oda might even shock us and just straight up have Gaban, roll Luffy. I don't know. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think it'd be kind of insane if that happened. I think it'd be really insane if that happened, but it would just make us look at what the Pirate King crew's full potential is like down this story in a totally different light. So I'm not going to close off any possibilities. I'll just be open-minded. But my guess would be that the fight gets interrupted before anything conclusive. Scopper Gaban says, guys, did Morj skip my super chat? No, I think I got you, man. Unless you, the super you're talking about was I got you, man. I got it's your Yonko comment, right? Yeah, I got you early on in the stream. Continuing on. Growth Stunks, thanks for the 5. The final villain isn't Shamrock, but Garling. He's going to connect the Mother Flame with Uranus now that York is under him, using it to crush Elbaf. I don't know if he's going to destroy Elbaf, man. That'd be fucking insane. I feel like Elbaf is too important for a variety of reasons. Namely that I think that the war for higher ground is going to hit Elbaf somewhat soon. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 300 because we got nearly 1,000 people in here. Gobble D Snuts, thanks for the 5. Is Mountaineer a colorful observation master? Since Shamrock when Luffy didn't. I think that would be very, very possible. It would be similar to Sanji, of course, if that's the case. And then the only other thing I'd say is that it's possible that Gaban was physically closer, but I don't know. I need to look at the geography of the island again. I don't actually know. Just keeping in mind, Elbaf is truly, truly, truly gigantic. But at the same time, if I think timeline-wise back, weren't Luffy, Zoro, and Nami already on their way over there? I don't know. I don't want to get too much into, like, is his observation Haki better than theirs or not? We at the very least know it's very, very good. I could easily see it being better than Luffy and Zoro's. Akash Panda, thanks for the 5. Spandam said, can you survive with the world as your enemy? I want end of story Strahd to be so strong that they can take on the rest of the world and win. I agree with where you're coming from, but I think that at the end of the day, the alliances that they make are also going to matter. Like, are you saying just the core crew? Because the Strahd Grand Fleet will also matter. I think the nations that they have under their wing will matter. If you say, like, everything that counts as under the Straw Hat's umbrella will be stronger than every other faction, I agree with that. I would agree with that. It kind of like how, like, Whitebeard went to war with the world government, but ultimately he couldn't do it. I believe that if we were to change that scenario to be the Straw Hats going to war with all of their resources with the world government, they would win. Because ultimately what that should look like is essentially similar to the Mural, right? It's similar to what we saw in the Mural. Scopper Gaban, thanks for 5. No hate Morj, but the Romance Dawn trio video aged like Milk Bro, Monster Trio greater, Sanji greater than Lami in terms of importance. Hail Scopper Gaban, though. No. That video is still 100% correct. This isn't about... I don't think I ever argue... Do you think I'm arguing that Nami's stronger than Sanji? Because I'm not arguing that Nami's stronger than Sanji, but she's more important as a character than Sanji at the end of the day, and that's okay. It's not like the gap's here and here. It's just you literally look at the... There's nothing about the video that aged like milk, because you can just go through and look at how I broke down what actually happens at the start of every major story arc. It's Luffy, Zoro, Nami. She's more of a fundamental cornerstone of One Piece than Sanji is. You could argue Sanji's right there, number 4. I would say Sanji and Usopp are right there, number 4 or 5. You could argue either way. Sanji's importance in terms of strength is never going to change, right? If you think that Sanji being stronger than Nami means that he's most important, then you're reading, I don't even know, not even 2-piece. You're reading 3 or 4-piece, because that's just a bizarre thought to have. Yeah, Monster Trio, we've always known how important they are. We've always known how important they are, but yeah, at the end of the day, in terms of importance as characters, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are the more important characters. Simple evidence is, who the fuck is there talking to Gaban right now? It's fucking Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. It's Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. The dynamic is literally right there in front of you, and you're saying, well, now that Gaban's also introduced, that means that this dynamic doesn't mean jack shit. It's like, no, the dynamic is still... We're still fucking reading the story through them, right? This is just a good confirmation that Sanji, in terms of strength, is going to be right up there with Zoro, like Luffy and Zoro at the end of the story, like most people who love the Monster Trio would have hoped. That doesn't mean Sanji's a more important character than Nami. I would love for you to point out what part of that video that I broke down, because I broke down how East Blue begins. I broke down even before the story began, right? So pre-One Piece, Oda's concepts for the story, right? I broke that down. I broke down the East Blue saga. I broke down how the Baroque Works saga began. I broke down how the Enies Lobby saga began. I broke down how fucking the Versus for Yonko saga began. And I broke down how Elbaf's beginning. If you can point to me which part of my breakdown there was incorrect, and it was actually all about Sanji and not Luffy, Zoro, and Nami, then I would concede that that video is incorrect. But if your argument is that, well, Sanji's stronger than Nami, I never made that argument. I think that's just obvious to anyone with a brain, that obviously in terms of strength, it's Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. You know? Continuing on. Yeah, like, Nabi's literally in the chapter. The story's there. It's the story's going through them. Continuing on. Tala, thanks for being a Yonko tier member. Thanks for joining again. Always good to see you. Remix King, thanks for the 5. Colin being 20 puts the entire giant education system into question. The Giants really are fucking dumb. They're just a bunch of meatheads. Also, what are in those books? Is Robin really going to learn anything useful? I think so. We might need some time before Robin can really decipher and kind of put shit together. I think this might be... You know what I think is cool here? I think this might be the first time that we see Robin actually... Because so far, the scholar that we've seen has generally, in my opinion, been straight deciphering things, right? Like, not deciphering, straight translating things. So, like, reading the history here, reading the history there. I would love to see Robin in more... So, I think this is the first abstract piece of text that she's had to work with. I would love to see Robin take on a more puzzle-solving mode here. Like, what's her interpretation of these events, right? I don't know a ton about archaeology, but my assumption is that, like, some of it is also having to put the pieces together in a sense. Harley, Casey, no. Hey! I would love to see her interpretation. I would love to see her interpretation of the text that she just read. I think that would be really cool. Also, let's get the stream links up to 300 real quick. Cody Long, thanks for being a Yonko tier member. Let me move a little faster. Where are we at? Cody Long, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. The newest video was a banger, Morj. Keep up the great work. If you have not seen the newest video, please go check it out. It is probably one of the... I think it's straight up the best theory video that I've ever put out on the channel. And after having looked at some other people's interpretations of the mural, I would personally say, and you can look at the comments of the video itself, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic here, because usually when people don't fuck with the theories that I'm putting out, they say so in the comments or they point out things. The comments for this one are almost pretty unanimously just like, this might be the answer to One Piece straight up, right? I truly feel like that video is heavily, as close to possible a complete interpretation of the mural as you can get, and the history of the three worlds. There's still obviously some missing pieces that no one can really know till we get to the end of the story. But I truly feel like that video is just very comprehensive, because I was clicking so many things together in my head, like aha, as I was writing it. If you have not watched that video, I strongly encourage you to go watch that video. And I think it's a video that is comprehensive enough that, I don't think I normally ask this, but I would strongly encourage you guys to share that video as much as possible, because I want to see, are there holes to that interpretation? Is there a better idea out there than what that video basically puts together and how it connects everything? What do people think about that? I would love for that video to reach as many people in the community as possible, because I do think it is the most comprehensive idea of connecting all of the missing pieces of One Piece into One Piece together that I know of out there. And that might be a hyperbolic statement to say, but I wouldn't say that if I was not looking at all of the responses to the video. And they are, again, pretty much the most overwhelmingly positive, and basically just like, this is straight up spoilers response to a theory that I've ever done. So if you guys if you haven't seen the video, definitely go watch, and you can judge for yourself if you feel like what I'm saying is too much. If you have seen the video, I definitely encourage you to go out and share that one, because it took a ridiculous amount of time and effort. My editor and I basically killed ourselves for 4 days straight putting that shit together, while I had other shit going on at the same time. So that was a huge fucking project. Put a shit ton of passion into that, and I just feel really good about the way it all connects, and I would love for that to reach as many people as possible. So I don't normally ask this, but if you enjoyed that video, please go out and share that one, just because that's a big one. Mango, thanks for the 7. Loki beat Gaban and the Giants 14 years ago. This is insane gas. I'd bet he gave him his forehead scar. More Shanks gas as well. Did Loki beat Gaban and the Giants? I don't know. Yeah, I think the fact that Loki couldn't be stopped by anyone, that can be interpreted by a bunch of ways. I imagine that old Gaban would not be capable of stopping Loki if he's as hyped up as he says. I don't know. I think we just gotta wait and see. That'd be kind of insane. I would love to see who all Loki encountered in the new world before we get too hyperbolic with that sort of thing. But it is definitely more Shanks gas as well. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 300 real quick. Talha, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 13 months. Based on Luffy forgetting the Gorosei Circle, that means that Sanji's the only Straw Hat who could Recognize it. Lucky for the plot, he's not here right now. Yeah, that's the way Oda works lots of times. That's funny. 02657. Holy shit! What? Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my god. Whoa, 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 whoa. I completely missed this shit. 02657? Am I reading this right? Did you just gift 50 memberships? Did you just give 50 memberships? Holy shit. 02657. Hold on. Everybody, let's take a quick pause. How many of you just got 50 membership? How many of you just got a membership from 02657? Literally, that's like, what the fuck? Like, like a solid, like a major percent, like over 5% of viewers just got members. Holy shit. Everybody say thank you to 02657. Thank you so much for coming through, man. As usual. What the fuck? Everybody say thanks to 02657. Major W's in the chat. 50 of us. What the fuck? Oh my god. Yeah, I gotta be quicker than that. Oh my god. Holy shit. Everybody say thanks. Everybody say thanks to 02657. That is huge, because you might get a membership from him down the line. 02657, sorry, it took a moment to get to you. I'm reading it as I'm reading it. I'll pay more attention to the chat as I'm going as well. I'm sorry about that, man. Thank you so much. Holy shit. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. 02657, thanks for the 2. When's the Loki equal Diddy video coming out? Yeah, because a lot of people are pointing out that the age at which Loki would have fallen for Lola, based on when he... based on the timeline that he was still a prince of Elbaf, right? And not, like, just killed his father, like, 14 years back, like, over 14 years ago. Lola would have been young. Like, not legal young. Loki might be in some serious trouble. I don't know how they get down in Japan over there, but I'm pretty sure even over there it's pretty sus. I personally think that Oda is not always the best with ages. We know this. He literally had to retcon Pudding's age because I think he just gets ages wrong sometimes. He had to retcon Pudding's age. He landed on Jack being 8 years old during the Odin flashback, even though it's made clear that Jack was one of Kaido's commanders that was, fighting against, Odin and the Scabbards and everything like that. I don't think Oda exactly planned that perfectly. I think he might have just said 28 sounds good for Jack, maybe not remembering that he'd already established that Jack was one of them. I think that, yeah. I don't know. I think that when it comes to ages, Oda might not be exactly the most reliable, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Maybe there'll be a retcon for Lola's age as well at some point. But the tricky thing with Lola is then it changes, like, what order in the family is she as a daughter? I don't know. All right. Isaac St. Charles, thanks a lot. Morj, you said change waifu to 150 and Wano to 200. Change waifu to 150 and Wano to 200? I mean, that's up to the people. If the people want to change it, that's what I would like to do. But I don't know if it's fair for me to just arbitrarily change the penalty amounts. Mega Leo Dom, thanks for the 5. Is Dosundada's half giant and half Tontada? That is so insanely... That's like fucking a bug. That would be like fucking an insect. That is the most insanely perverted thing to exist in One Piece. And if I ever hear about, like, a fucking... If Oda ever mentions... What does Gaban think about the Minks? How does he view the Minks, huh? He's like, oh, we're kind of all free-spirited. Like, some of us are more free-spirited. How free-spirited are you, Gaban? Because there's some lines that I don't believe should be crossed. How do you feel about the Minks? Okay? If you fuck Tontadas... you... Time out. Okay, hold on. Actually, let's take a step back. Because I think we all just kind of accepted the fact that some giants have fucked humans, right? I think we've all just accepted that some giants have fucked humans. We kind of just accepted that, right? It's just like, oh, that's just a thing. I think because we are humans, and so for us, it plays into some, like, we can fantasy-wise imagine, like, oh, like, giant woman. Obviously, that would be attractive to a good number of people, whatever, right? But if you think about it from the Giants' perspective, it would literally be, it's the equivalent of a human fucking a Tontada, right? Giants and Tontadas, that's just beyond, that is beyond, I don't even know what to, that is, again, like I said, that's like fucking an insect. Something's wrong with your brain, right? But even just a giant fucking a human, it is more weird than I thought. I already thought it was weird, as I've talked about in past streams. But it would be the same as a human fucking a Tontada. You know how fucked up you would have to be as a person to be into Tontadas? What? Think about that. Ripley is a fucking disgusting woman. I think it is, even though it's weird to be into a giant as a human, you can at least see where they're coming from, I think. But I think the reverse is really fucking bizarre. It's the same, like, can you as a human imagine being into a Tontada? Because that's what it would be like if you're a giant that's into a human. It's the same shit. Like, even Sanji, I would think, is not so fucked up in the head that he'd want to go around fucking Tontadas. You know? Do you think Sanji would fuck a Tontada? Can you imagine what would you think of a One Piece woman that's into a Tontada? I think that's really weird. I think that's really weird. All right. Continuing on. Ripley, most disgusting woman in One Piece. Let's move on. Jaquan Butler, thanks for the 10. Got nothing to say, just like your channel. Keep it up. You Illinois hoodie motherfucker, you. Also, Sanji's beating the bums was unfortunate phrasing. That is unfortunate phrasing. But just know that from here on, I will forever put Sabo, Law, Kid, King, all of them, they all just got docked a spot. Marco even, they all got docked a spot in the overall rankings. All got docked a spot. L, thanks for the 2. Yamato. I don't know if Sanji's beating Yamato. I don't know about that one. And you know how much I hate Yamato. But I gotta value the clashing with Kaido thing. That's a lot. But the bums, for sure Yamato's beating the bums. Or not Yamato. Well, Yamato beats the bums, but so does Sanji. You know? L, thanks for the 2. Talk your shit, Morj. You write about the Monster Trio. Thank you. Fantastic mural video, Morj. You were cooking. Thanks, OHNS. And again, if you want to share that one around, please be my guest. That would make me very happy. I do want that one to reach as many people as possible. Justin Holland, thanks for the 5. I meant the permanent magic circle in the throne room added the mystery. I agree. And Gaban doesn't become 3 on the pirate crew without knowing a few tricks in Haki. I agree, but it's hard to say if he would know more tricks than Luffy does at this point in time. I would agree. Aether, thanks to, Luffy at this point in time is close to maxed out, most likely, in terms of Haki knowledge. I think the only area that's still, not fully fleshed out for him is probably some advanced Conqueror's Haki techniques. And probably hiding one's presence. I think that's a big thing. I think hiding one's presence could be a big thing. That's a fun thought for Sanji as a power-up, because Sanji can also essentially turn invisible just through speed. But then the tricky thing is observation Haki allows you to sense presences. So if Sanji could learn to conceal his presence as well, I think that would be a really good combination for him. Also, let's get the stream lights up to 350 real quick. Aether, thanks for the 2. Gaban mainly wants to confirm Gear 5th rumors. Oh, that'd be cool. He could just ask like a normal person. Toby Obito, thanks for the 2. You think Luffy learns new Haki from this fight? I think maybe Gaban showcases something. Like, it'd be really cool if Gaban showcases something like hiding one's presence. The tricky thing is, it almost feels, I don't know if Luffy would have a Haki bloom, because I think at this point Luffy needs to, Haki blooms come in very, very extreme, like life or death fights, which I don't feel like this is going to be. Like, Luffy didn't even bloom his Haki against, like, when he was fighting Kizaru and all the Gorosei and Egghead, right? And that was more of a life or death situation. So, I mean, he Haki bloomed against Katakuri. He Haki bloomed against, first was against Big Mom and Udon, then was against Kaido, obviously in Onigashima. I don't know if this is going to prompt that, but I would love if Gaban showcased something, like, again, like the concealing the presence thing. I think that's an interesting one. Interestingly, I think the minks also were able to conceal their presence in a way, unless I'm misremembering. The tricky thing is that Gaban doesn't come across. If you can't correlate Gaban's personality too much to Sanji's because he's very much his own person, right? Aside from the love overlap, because Gaban is actually he's a very sort of almost aggressive and brash and big personality. If you go back and read his earlier chapters, because I skimmed Strong World, skimmed the Odin flashback, skimmed even the little chapter 1096 of God Valley, Gaban is like, he's a hothead more than like Aurelia or something like that. He is somebody that I'd be surprised if his main skill would be like concealing his presence. But maybe that's just an ability that he has. I don't know. But he is a very brash, big, again, like he's almost written like a berserker type character, if that makes sense. And that fits with his like dual axe wielding style. Just seems very aggressive. Marco Cadillo, thanks for the 5. You're avoiding points because you're abusing your power of delaying stream. It should result in 20 points added every time you delay stream. # justice. Disagree. Again, I never abused the delaying stream option. Ever since we started the point stream, if I'm going to delay stream, it's only like if something big has come up over the course of the day, and then I make sure that I always delay it by over an hour in advance. Continuing on. Hold on. Now it's going a little slow. Patrick Malone, thanks for the 5. Gear 5 makes Luffy not try, so I think that's how they'll justify Scopper doing well. Maybe Luffy even learns a lesson about getting serious. I would love that. Like, Luffy screwed around with Lucci for 2 straight chapters, so yeah, I could see that. Isaac St. Charles, sorry, I don't know what your message was. Gum Diesel, thanks for the 5. Saw a video that explained why the pacing of Elbaf is so rushed. Because of how time works differently and we're experiencing with the Straw Hats. I don't know if time works differently, largely because at one point I even went back, I think it was almost on stream, went back and tracked the ages, and it did not seem like it tracked that time works differently, unless some of the ages are incorrect. But I can do a double check again. I'm almost down to do a double check. But like, I saw some things that seem to indicate that just based on certain character ages, unless Oda does their like relative ages, including their time in Elbaf, like he accounts for the time dilation or something. I don't know. But here's the big thing, which is just that, or the big response to your question, which is I don't think the pacing of Elbaf is rushed. I think Elbaf, if anything, people are talking about Elbaf being a very, very slow start. Like a very, very slow, lackadaisical start. Like we had several chapters just of the Strats in Legoland with no meaningful plot taking place, right? I feel like Elbaf has been, in my estimation, I think Elbaf might be the slowest starting arc in One Piece, which I appreciate because it gives us more time for the story to breathe and not just everything bumping around. I think it's the slowest starting arc to get the plot and primary conflict rolling in a long time, I think. Thomas, thanks for the 5. What if Blackbeard's desire to acquire the Yami fruit was not for the Haki-like abilities, but the sun was hidden inside the fruit via black hole? That's a crazy idea, but I don't know if that would be the case. So wouldn't he have gotten his hands on it already? Mustafa Jungana, thanks for the 5, and thanks for your first super ever. I really appreciate it. Hey, Morj, avid Sanji hater here, so I'm having a pretty shitty week. JK lol. Any predictions for Oda's got in store for Usopp this arc? The exciting thing to me is that we can't tell. I do think that Elbaf is going to be an arc that touches on certain themes. The themes of masculinity, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a warrior, which is important for Usopp, right? Because we've got right now a nation that's divided between like peace, like the old ways of war and trying to transition to peace, but war's on the horizon, right? So we've got that stuff. And I think that fatherhood's going to be very important in this arc, just based on several figures that we've been getting so far and several father-child dynamics that have been set up. And lastly, Shanks is being referenced so much this arc. We know that he's going to be important in this arc in some way, right? Who's with Shanks? Yassop. I think the biggest potential for an Usopp storyline comes with Yassop. And I think ultimately Usopp's going to have to prove or learn something about himself now that he will be in the context where he's in a land with all of the people that he's idolized, right? He's idolized the giants for so long for their warrior culture and everything like that and what he aspires to be. And before that, he idolized his father for being a brave warrior of the sea, despite Yassop having abandoned Usopp and his mom, right? So I think with all of that stuff coming together in one location, that gives tremendous potential for Usopp to have to go through some sort of journey of inner worth and kind of maybe define the idea of like, what does it mean to be a brave warrior of the sea in his mind? Because in my mind, and honestly in all of your minds, Usopp is way braver than any of us, right? He's just way braver than any of us. Unless you're straight up like a Medal of Honor recipient in the military right now, Usopp has done a million braver things than any of us have, right? So Usopp is a brave warrior of the sea by all metrics. He needs to feel like he's a brave warrior of the sea. So what's missing there? I think putting him in this location where he can potentially meet and interact with all the people that he's idolized, who've been his sort of like masculine hero ideals, I think that will shed a lot of light on Usopp's story. Roboto, thanks for the 2. I forgot Brook existed. Yeah, Brook's the only one that's kind of missing there. In terms of, I don't know, Brook and Jinbei, I don't know what their storylines are necessarily going to be. Keep in mind, I don't necessarily think that every single Straw Hat needs... Oh, Chopper too. Chopper is doing some stuff with Robin, and Chopper said he wanted to learn some things, so there's already something for Chopper there. I don't think I expect a storyline where every single Straw Hat is getting some major, deep, personal storyline. That's not really a thing. I don't think any One Piece arc has ever really had that, but all of the great One Piece arcs to me, outside of Marineford, which is just Luffy, all of the great One Piece arcs to me, all strive to carve out something or the other for each Straw Hat. And so far, that's been done for like at least the majority of them in the arc so far. Budfagum, thanks for the 7. I liked your recent video, but how did you come to the conclusion that Noah was built in the second world? There'd also be flooding in the first world. So I need to pull up the panels, but there's a few things that are mentioned in the explanations about Noah early on, which is that it seemed as though Noah, we already know what created Noah, which is a certain clan. It's referred to as a certain clan created Noah, and they need to get the ship to that clan, right? So that's number one. And we know that a lot of this, like, the world was very, very different post the first Void Century, post First World Void Century, and a lot of new stuff, like Ancient Kingdom and stuff like that. A lot of these concepts, like, those are second world concepts as far as we understand. Noah was also a ship that was left behind by Joy Boy for the Fishman people as an arc of promise to the Fishman people. So a lot of the things around Noah seem to imply that, again, I would need to look at the exact panels again, but a lot of things around Noah seem to imply it was something that was built in the second world directly related to Joy Boy and what the will of D would turn out to be. And what it would be a ship that would need to be used down the line, and it was created for the people of Fishman Island by a certain clan, a clan that still exists because the Sea Kings imply that they can still take it to that clan, and the clan can still fix it. So the fact that it's a clan that still exists, again, implies second world stuff, because otherwise you're going back to, like the whole world was totally different. Like, the Kazuki, if that's the clan, were they around in the fucking first world, like 2 resets ago? Like, a lot of the concepts that we have today seem to be much more recent concepts. So, yeah, just the fact that Noah's whole concept seems to be specifically centered around passing on Joy Boy's will to the Fishman people during the transition of the second world to the third world. The fact that it's been built by a clan, like we know the origin of Noah, a clan that still exists. A lot of that seems to suggest Noah is tied to the second world period of time, but I would have to go back to look at the exact panels to provide the proper phrasing for you guys. Captain T, thanks for the 50. Hey, Morj, oh my god, holy shit, thank you for the 50. What the fuck? I see 2 50s. What the fuck? Thank you so much for the 100, man. Holy shit, thank you, Captain T. What the fuck? Thank you so much. Damn, thank you. Hey, Morj, I had a thought. Could Haki be the same mysterious dream energy that powered the Ancient Kingdom? Haki equals dreams, the will to make dreams reality, since it's inherent in all things and all around them. 1 out of 2. Also, the teleportation used by the Gorse in the God's Night hasn't been seen from Haki users. Maybe it's an Ancient Kingdom technology that's used instead. It could be Devil Fruit related, but why does it always require massive amounts of Haki? So, my feeling is simply that in terms of... So, Haki and... Devil Fruits, etc., I'm kind of differentiating one being willpower versus one being dreams, because my interpretation of a lot of themes of One Piece come down to these are 2 separate ability sets because they represent 2 separate concepts that Oda is saying both are very important. So dreams are something that everybody has, right? Everybody imagines, could I be this, could I be that, I would like to do this with my life, I would like to do that, this is my goal, etc., right? So everybody has dreams. And then the idea is that, well, it's not just enough to have dreams, because everyone has dreams. whoever ultimately achieves those dreams of like becoming Pirate King, becoming world's strongest swordsman, etc., that your ability to achieve your dreams comes down to your strength of will, your drive, your conviction, right? And that's kind of something else, at least the way that I interpret it, right? Haki is the driving force to achieve what you desire, but what you desire is different than the strength of will that you have to get it, right? Which is also why I feel like the strongest characters in the story who actually achieve these things, like Roger, like Luffy will one day be able to, like the characters who are like Mihawk did, the characters who are able to achieve their dreams are marked by having the strongest Hakis, because Haki is that it's your will, like your strength of will, your conviction, the strength of your conviction and spirit manifested, right? I think Luffy having the strongest Haki at the end of the day, and the most imaginative devil fruit at the end of the day, the most dream-like devil fruit at the end of the day, I think is the perfect merging of the concept of Luffy himself being the perfect marriage of like the most fantastic big dreamer possible with the grandest and strongest willpower to achieve anything that he aims to achieve, right? So I think it's the marriage of those two concepts. That's my interpretation. So where are we at? Sorry, what was the rest of your question? Let me take a look. Hold on. Where the fuck did it go? Hold on. What the fuck? Hold on. Oh shit, I might have to reload this. Give me a second, man. Yeah, I just think that I think that there are two separate ideas. I do think at the very least that they are supposed to be symbolically tied together, but I do think it's supposed to be somewhat different in that, like, I feel like anyone's desires could create a devil fruit, and maybe devil fruits choose people who seem to match them quite well in terms of desires, but I don't think that, like, they're exactly the same thing. For some reason, why is your shit not loading for me anymore? All right, let's see. All things and all around them. And I also don't think that Haki is an energy that's all around us, because I think Haki is something that's I think dream energy is more like collective unconscious energy, because everyone has these dreams that spill out into the world, whereas Haki is something more intrinsic, right? Like while everyone's dreams can flow and mesh and merge into each other, right? Individuals' willpower and ability to accomplish those dreams is innate to the individual. It's tied to the individual. So like your willpower is tied to you. Your willpower, I don't think, just flows out into the world at large. I understand that there is some overlap between the idea of like, well, dreams are your will, like your desire, right? And so Haki is also your will. But I think that Oda is making a distinction between like just the desire part of will and then the conviction and drive part of will. Like how bad, like this is what I want, this is how bad I want it. Those are the two differences. The desire part, that can flow into the collective unconscious and be dream energy, but the strength of will energy, that's tied to you, that's tied to the individual, and I don't think that flows out into the world quite as much. Sorry, picking shit back up. Hold on. Continuing. Give me a second here. Niranjan Pandit, thanks for the 2. Do you think the sun in the mural is a tangible thing? I do now believe that the sun in the mural is a tangible thing. I did not used to believe that. Now I do. I did not used to believe that, but now I do. I think that there is going to be something that, because the touching the sun and then the world changed, that is part of it that does sound literal. Like on Earth, there is a flame, man touches it. And I think like the biggest thing is Vegapunk talking about how there's an energy all around us that we can no longer use. So it does sound like there is something that is a little literal that we need to be able to access in order to create the utopia that's necessary. If the sun turns out to be a metaphor for something else, I wouldn't be surprised, though. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 400. Colin Parker, thanks for the 5. What is the point of Scopper and Elbaf? All we know is he likes to cut trees. Is there any chance of him cutting down Yggdrasil, or is that too extreme? I'm fucking stupid. I didn't even think about the possibility of, like, Chopper would make sense as being able to cut down trees, because that's actually where he got his name from, right? Heroic named him for that. Anyway, Scopper being like known as this great tree cutter being on the land that has the biggest fucking trees, that's so fucking insane. What if Scopper went there because he just heard there's a giant fucking tree and he was like, I ought to chop that down, and instead he chopped something else down. But that's, I don't know. I don't think Scopper would be the one to cut down Yggdrasil, just because it seems like something that's a little bit too significant for an old head to do. You know, it's kind of like I no longer expect Rayleigh to be the one to really do the crazy big impactful stuff. I think Rayleigh did his stuff by passing on knowledge and teaching to Luffy. I expect Scopper to kind of do the same. Captain T's second super. Sorry about that. Oh yeah. Okay. Also sorry, I was trying to remember it. I couldn't find it. Also the teleportation. Hold on. Let me just open it up here. Yeah. No, it is this. Okay. So the teleportation used by the Gorsen God's Knights hasn't been seen from Haki users. So I still feel like that's Emu related, just because I don't see any technology that Emu is specifically using for that. I feel like Emu has, through the use of some devil fruit, I think Emu has strong Haki innately, but I think also through the use of some devil fruit, that's an extremely powerful fruit, Emu is also able to do certain things that are basically almost demonic, right? And it kind of merges the concept of, like, if these things are products of his will, maybe, then like that's why there's also Haki coming out of it. I think that there's a merging there of like Haki power and devil fruit power in Emu that we have yet to fully understand. But Oda is making him really seem to be like the devil in a lot of ways. And so the demonic satanic circles, I don't think it's a technology thing. I think it is supposed to be tied to Emu. Just because then, like, also the way that Saturn kind of blows up and the flame comes out of him and everything like that, that seems similar visually to what's happening with the flames around the pentagons, but we know that that's Emu's power. It's not some technology thing. So that's my interpretation there. Dick So Small, I pissed on the balls. Thanks for the 5. Loki is the giant equivalent of a 21-year-old right now. There's no weird age gap with Lola. So then 14 years ago, what would he have been? Is the ratio like 3x, right? So Loki right now, he's the giant equivalent of 21-year-old right now. What isn't? Well, hold on. One Piece, Lola age. Let's see. Lola's age is. So she's 26. So 14 years ago she was 12, right? Loki's age is. He's about like 5 years younger than Big Mom, right? 5 years younger than Big Mom. One Piece, and then we divide that by 3, right? So let's see. And like that shit that you just said, by the way, it won't fly in court, but we're gonna humor it anyway. So Loki's 63, 14 years back, right? So 14 years back he was 49, right? 49 by 3, what's that? 49 by 3 is 16, right? Roughly 16. 16 and 12 is still stretching it, though, right? 16 and 12, I still think that's maybe not okay. I think stretching it is actually an understatement. I think that if you're a 16-year-old and you're proposing marriage to a 20-year-old, I don't know exactly what that makes you, but it's not pedophilic. You know what I mean? I think it still doesn't fly. Loki was 17 in human years. Right, so are we cool with 7? Is it 17? I think it's 16, right? Because 49, but like it's basically 16 and a third, right? I don't think this is not okay. I don't think we should normalize this. Just like a 16-year-old, just straight up, if you were in high school and you're 16 and you're dating a 12-year-old, which would be what, like 6th grade or something, that's not okay. That's not okay. You can't be in 10th grade dating a 6th grader, right? You're not even the same rate. Like, what the fuck? I don't think this is. I don't think that this excuse flies. I don't think that this excuse flies. All right, continuing on. All right. Dick So Small said Loki's the giant equivalent of a 21-year-old. There's no weird age gap with Lola. I think that there is a weird age gap. End of story. Kid greater than Shanks says 5. Oh my god, what a bizarre title to have, but you do you, man. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 400 real quick. Sup, Morj, what do you think about Gaban teaching kid-in-law advanced Haki and Elbaf? Much like Hyogoro, who looks similar to him, taught Luffy and Wano. I don't know. I just don't know about that, because I'm just like, I prefer... To me, we're at a point where I don't want Luffy having to be sat down and taught shit anymore. Luffy's a Yonko. He's like a big boy now, right? Like, he is on the same plane as Kaido, Shanks, Big Mom, like, at least what he's supposed to be, right? Let the boy figure it out from here. We were told that the best Haki blooms happen in combat. Let him do that, right? Fight people. Get stronger like that. That's more exciting to me. 02657, thanks for the 5. And thanks again for the 50 memberships, dude. Like, holy shit, man. Thank you. Oda is known to draw inspiration from multiple sources. Which early civilization did he draw inspiration from for the mural? It looks like cave art. To me, it looks like cave art, but I don't know. I feel like that stuff, to me, I've seen some people say it's like South American, like Aztec, Mayan, some of the drawing styles. So I think that could be the closest that I could understand, particularly with the drawing of the forest god and the snake god. But a lot of it, I think, is just Oda's own spin on things, right? We know that Oda likes to draw inspiration from lots of mythologies, but ultimately he's going to do his own thing. I interpret the mural as like drawing some from that art style. But I think ultimately he did the mural how he, like, just, he had his own concept of, like, doing really cave art, like, abstract depiction of the history of the worlds. L, thanks for the 2. Scopper with the LeBron 2.0 project. Oh, yeah. Are you saying because, like, I don't know if you're saying because, like, LeBron's happy he got Luka and it's kind of like Scopper seeing Luffy? I don't know. Is that what you're saying? Sleeping Danger, thanks a lot. Big Mom has a Tontada child. She worse than Ripley. Okay, well, Big Mom is... I fucking forgot about that. But Big Mom's Big Mom, you know? Big Mom's Big Mom. So she's like... We know that she's straight up fucked up in the head. What's Ripley's excuse? What's Ripley's excuse? Like, I don't think Ripley's got an excuse, right? Ripley, to me, out of all of the characters that should be sane in the story, is, like, the nastiest one. Straight up. Because, again, just like, would you as a human fuck a Tontada? Like, it's basically saying you're fucking an action figure or something like that. Right? Like, this is weird and messed up. The Tontadas ride bugs. When I said that a giant fucking a Tontada would be like a giant fucking a bug, that was actually inaccurate. That was incorrect. It would be like a human fucking a mite or something like that, or a speck of dust. You got to be just so depraved to even think about that. So if we find out that there's a giant Tontada hybrid thing, that's wrong. I personally think that a Tontada anything hybrid is wrong. What Big Mom did is just representative of the type of person Big Mom is, so there's honestly no surprises there. But for there to be any race that procreates with Tontadas, aka bug-sized humans, it's just... I think they should be in a facility of some sort, personally. Anyway, NeoX7, thanks to the 5. Morj, weren't you the one talking about men walking in zoos to compare penises to impress gorilla women? No. I have never said that. One thing I did say, so this is a fun fact, though. This is a fun fact for the people who want to know. Humans have bigger dicks than gorillas, which is kind of cool to think about. Because gorillas, you think that they're like the most big macho of primates or whatever, right? But I believe this is what you should do if you're ever being, I'll say this. If you are ever being attacked by a gorilla, ignore what science says. Ignore what other people say, all right? Gorilla charging at you, right? Here's what you do. Take off your clothes. If you're a dude. If you're a woman, you might just, you're probably in trouble. But if you're a dude, just take off your clothes, all right? The gorilla, one look, let's take a look at this real quick. Hold on. Gorilla dicks are 1 inch long. Gorilla dicks are 1 inch long. All it would take, you disrobe in front of a gorilla, they will know who's in charge. They will know what's up. They will be like, holy shit, never mind. There's a new alpha for our gorilla tribe. Let's all. How do you think Tarzan survived for so many years? How do you think Tarzan survived? They were just like, holy shit, this dude's our next fucking chief. Obviously. Why do you think who's seen Tarzan? Why do you think the gorilla dad hated Tarzan so much? He was just like, this fucking humans walking around with the biggest dick in the tribe by like far. Making me look like a real... That's why he was so mean to Tarzan. He overcompensated so much. So that's legit... That's legit science right there. Like, that's all you have to do. Gorilla charging at you, take off your clothes, gorilla will know who the alpha is in that situation right off the bat. It's over. They'll just be like, oh shit, I was mistaken. That's what will happen. Anyway, how do we get on this subject? I don't know. Anyway, that's my advice, and I'm serious. Just try that anytime you're out in the wild with gorillas. Gorilla charging at you, guaranteed way to survive. Science books won't tell you that just because they don't want to get too crass, but like survival. You can't get too crass when it comes time to survive. Fake Lynn, thanks for the 2. Maybe Gaban was off island like when he visited Crocus. That's possible. I don't want to get too into like Gaban versus Loki discussions or whatever. That's its own whole thing. It doesn't even matter. Like, Gaban would have been old at that point in time, right? He would have been old. Supersonic Squad, thanks for the 5. In defense of Loki, since both him and Big Mom were hated by Elbaf, I bet he met her in his travels and wanted to have an alliance to take over Elbaf. So, I like to believe in that possibility. The tricky thing is that we see Loki... I guess you can't go too much by the silhouette, but, like, you see Loki in the silhouette surrounded by friends, and he's wearing a crown, and he looks like kingly. So maybe that's just like a rendition of like conceptually what it should have been, but as Oda got closer to concept or something, he was just like, no, you know what, Loki was a banished prince at this point in time. No, because I think Oda would have thought this out fairly well, considering the timing, the Goma Goma no Mi and everything. I do think that Oda might be not the best when it comes to certain nitty-gritty things, just because he's got so much to juggle lore-wise with the story. So like maybe like ages and stuff might not be the strongest suit. But yeah, it just didn't seem like Loki... Like, did Loki have friends when he left Elbaf? It was basically established that nobody in Elbaf fucking liked him once he killed King Harold. So like, why are there even giants in that drawing? I don't know. Roll number 4. Thanks a lot, Morj. I asked Rogers Bates to collab with you. Please do it. I've collabed with Rogers Base before. I like Rogers Base. We've even done, we had him on the Wano Report and stuff like that. Obviously talked to him plenty in Reveries. And Roger and I have talked on Twitter, just chatted from time to time or whatever. But I am generally not going to go out of my way to do collabs, period. There's like a reason, simply because it's time management stuff. So, while collabs are fun for viewers, right? At the end of the day, if you see like my schedule of how I do things over the course of the week and everything, it is fairly tight. I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to screw with work-life balance too much. In general, if I'm doing a collab with somebody, any YouTuber, usually 2 things always happen, which is we have to find a time that works for both of us. That time is usually going to be a time that is in the evening on a certain day that requires, some changing of schedule or something like that, right? I don't really feel like doing that nowadays. I will do that as favors to people at this point in time, but there's a reason that one of the late penalties that exist are I have to do a collab with Jay and Murphy, right? That's a reason that's one of the late penalties that exist, because I like Jay. I talk to Jay frequently, right? But I don't want to go out of my way to do a collab on my own just because it would require doing things that are outside of my schedule for a good, 1.5 to 2 hours, which is perfectly fine, but, it's like a work-life balance thing. It's basically just, doing more One Piece content just for the sake of doing more One Piece content with somebody else. That's okay. I will do that for people as people I like, people I'm friends with as a favor. But it's generally something that I've been trying to turn that down for a long time now. And I am trying to, because I've been asked for several collabs in the last several months or whatever, and I generally am kind of like trying to basically dissuade or say like, I don't really feel like that if possible, but like we can make it work if this or that or something like that. So it's nothing personal with anybody. It's literally just like, it's more so for my own sake of just keeping things to a sort of set schedule. Sulum's Phony 66, thanks for the 10 and thanks for your first super ever. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. Morj Lopez, do you think the Buccaneers' legacy in the One Piece world is basically being the first slave race, which initially beckoned the Sun God into existence for the first time, as was in the Harley text? Ooh, a Buccaneer being the first one to do it. I think that'd be really cool. If a Buccaneer was the first one. I also had a random thought, which is like that giant hat that we saw. So the hat, now that we've got a glimpse of Joy Boy, it seems like it might be too big to have been Joy Boy's hat, unless Joy Boy was like a really tall, skinny Buccaneer or something. But what if it was from the first world? And that dude was a Buccaneer. Like the first person, you just made give me a thought, like that was the first person to ever wish for the sun god or something like that. Was he? I would not. I think the Buccaneers being the first slave race to have wished for the sun god, I think that would be a really, really cool idea. I like that a lot. Brandon King, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 8 months. 8 months hype. Brandon King, thank you so much for the long time support. It feels like it's been longer, honestly, since I've been seeing you as a Yonko member. Glad to see Wotan's mention after the one time they brought up LMAO. Yeah. Maybe Dosun daughters are blacksmiths since Dosun was a hammerhead shark. Yeah, that was what I thought. I thought of Dosun, the fucking random-ass fishman. I was like, what are... was he a whole separate race? That didn't really seem to make sense. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 400 real quick. And yeah, I just like that Oda always... Even if certain aspects of the world don't really come back into play for a really long period of time, I like realizing that Oda's always aware of that shit and, he keeps tabs on it. Even small things, just the fact that minks were listed as one of the things that you could buy at the slave auction all the way back then, and it's like, what the fuck are minks? And then way later, it's just like, okay, Beppo's whole race it's a race, you know? Abrar Ahmed, hold on. Let me try and move through these a little bit faster. Abrar Ahmed, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 8 months. You cooked so hard on the Mural video. I've probably watched that video 5 times already. Now you have to show us how you cooked the Wano video. If you guys like that, you guys will love the Wano video, which will come. But I do really, really appreciate... I really appreciate all the positive feedback about the mural. Because when I was doing it, 1, it was a shit ton of work. 2, as I was writing it, it became longer and longer. 3, it was one of those videos where, as I was doing it, so many things it felt like just started to click together and click together. When I realized how the Hidden Islands comment about that stuff could fit into everything like that. His video about that stuff could fit into that. When I realized how this could play into the idea of Pangea, all of those things. When I realized how much everything was fitting together, I just felt so excited. That is my favorite video that I've made in I don't know how long, because I just had so much fun writing it. And it felt really, really good to me. And it just felt like everything connected. And I was scared when I dropped it that people would have a lot of that there were some things I was missing or flaws or something. And at that point in time, I had not looked at other people's interpretations of the mural. Outside of things that I'd seen randomly on my Twitter feed when the chapter first came out. But I hadn't seen, I hadn't watched any full video breakdown or any full, Reddit post or anything like that. I just tried to stay in my zone for the mural. So I was worried that once I dropped it, people would be like, oh, a lot of people have already said this or that. But I was so happy to see that, just all the comments were just, this is really, really comprehensive, and that this might just be the answer to everything. And pretty much it was just overwhelming positivity for that video. So now I feel, it just feels good to feel like you put together a lot of stuff and then actually get the feedback that, yeah, this is something that is that feels very, very right, not just to me, but to a lot of people. So yeah. Again, if you guys want to share that video, I would love for that. I normally don't really ask for that or whatever. I like my videos to do however organically, but that's one that's a special one, I think, to me, and I think that it's a special one just in terms of theories as to the story of One Piece in general. So yeah, the more people that I can reach, just the better. But I do appreciate the kind words. Big Falcon, thanks for the 5. Who do you think is stronger, Shanks or Shamrock? I mean, Shanks, that's a straightforward answer. DuckDuck20, thanks for the 5. I wonder if this is set up for an Usopp arc where Gaban stayed to raise his kid and Yassop didn't. Oh, shit. And that's the crazy thing. Fucking Gaban even likes to explore. That's his favorite thing. He said that he likes to explore a lot, but he stayed in Elbaf after having that kid. And he can't even live, with Ripley, long term. He can't marry her or anything because the aging works so differently. So it's very, very different, but he still chose to do it, Whereas Yassop just ran off at the first opportunity. DuckDuck20, thanks for the 20, or for the 5. I wonder if this is a setup. Oh, no, we covered this. I'm just going in speed mode. Cheritor, thanks for the 5. Could the Eternal Flame have been mined on the moon? The inactive automatons that NL powered could be a hint of that flame's absence. That is possible, but what's curious to me is that Lunarians, I would assume, came from the moon at some point, I think separately, earlier than the rest of the moon people. I wonder if the Lunarians may have shown other moon people how to create their flames or something like that, because the mother flame is remarkably similar to the flames that Lunarians have on their back, and I do believe that it was through the Lunarian experimentation data that Vegapunk was then able to figure out how to create the mother flame. L, thanks for the 2. Don't forget, Oda was... did you forget Oda was a Rurouni Kenshin assistant? Yeah, but I'm not going to blame Oda for that. At the end of the day, Oda's put out comments being supportive of him, which is not good. But I'm not going to blame him just for being an assistant, because Oda didn't know back then. Captain, thanks for joining the Pirate King tier. Thank you, Captain T, and thank you again for the $100 dono. Holy shit. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Please head on over, if you're a Pirate King, please head on over to the Pirate King podcast submissions. You should see the post under community post. I will be recording the podcast for that very soon, so just put whatever you want me to talk about, whatever question you want me to answer. I will answer it very, very in-depth, and then the podcast will be out hopefully at the start of next week. Hour to hour and a half long podcast, just me covering all the shit that everybody asked in the Pirate King podcast, so very in-depth. So definitely, man, thank you for the support, and definitely head over there. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 400 real quick. Average 576, thanks for the 5. Hello, Morj, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Just tuning in, what are your thoughts on Dosendadas and possible other races in One Piece? I don't know. So some of them I don't know if we'll ever see, just because I don't know how important they're actually going to be, versus Oda just throwing out the fact that a lot of these hybrids exist. We've already seen hybrids, so I don't know if Oda actually needs to show us a version of each one of these hybrids. I just think that with the Dosendadas being a hybrid race and people talking about how it might be related to Tontadas, that is a really, really weird thing that I think only the freakiest people in One Piece would do. EOS Kid, greater than Shanks. Thanks for the 2. I said Kid and Law Morj, not Luffy. You said Kid and Law Morj, not Luffy? What did I must have misinterpreted something you just said. Let's see. You said Kid and Law Morj, not Luffy. What does that mean? What was your previous comment? Where's your previous comment? Hold on. Maybe I'm missing something here. Let's see real quick. Kid and Law Morj, not Luffy. EOS Kid greater than Joy Boy. I said Kid. Oh, EOS Kid greater than Joy Boy. I said Kid and Law Morj. Are you changing your name a lot? Or was it initially EOS Kid? Oh, I'm sorry. I misinterpreted your previous comment. I was speed reading. Sup, Morj? What do you think about Gaban teaching Kid and Law advanced Haki and Elbaf, much like Hyogoro, who looks similar to him, taught Luffy and Wano? I think with Law... To me, the thing with Law is that, I don't know how much Haki is going to matter that much for Law because the way that his fruit is so good. So to me, with Law, it's kind of he's not a Conqueror's Haki user, and he's not written like a Conqueror's Haki user. So because he's not a Conqueror's Haki user, and he's not written like a Conqueror's Haki user, he ultimately isn't going to get advanced Conqueror's Haki. So the areas that he can really improve are advanced armament and stuff like that. The thing with Law, though, is I feel like he doesn't really need advanced armament because his fruit already allows him to penetrate any defense, right? Which is kind of one of the main uses of advanced armament. His fruit already has so much power. I just don't know how much he needs advanced armament. I imagine with Law, it might just be him getting better at using the fruit is just the Ope Ope no Mi is fucking Ope Ope no Mi. It is such a good fruit. He can bust out new bullshit techniques all the time, right? I think that with Kid, I don't know. I feel like Kid should develop advanced Conqueror's Haki. I think that is very, very important for him if he's going to continue in the story as a character. I think that Kid is not as far off from being very strong, as like legitimately very strong as people think, because I think most would say that Kid right now is solidly like at least roughly first mate level or something like that. Some people would have him even higher. So if you give a character like that advanced Conqueror's Haki, like I think a lot of people might say that Kid right now as he is comparable to Luffy at the start of the roof or something like that, or maybe Luffy at the start of Wano, right? I think people have Kid somewhere in that range, like either Luffy at the start of the rooftop or Luffy at the start of Wano. Kid somewhere in that range. I think people have him there. So if you gave a character like that advanced Conqueror's Haki, well, you already saw what that did for Luffy, right? Like the massive leap that gave him over the course of just from chapter 1010, right? So advanced Conqueror's Haki is just such a potent ability that Kid getting it could legitimately shoot him up to that top upper echelon, you know, along with him just getting better at using his fruit, because I think his fruit is so powerful in terms of potential. He's just not really tapped into it, in my opinion. I get what you're saying now, though. Tuna sub, thanks for the 5. Go to the panel of Ripley holding Frankie like an action figure, LMAO. How the fuck does it work? Like, is she just shoving Gaban's whole body up in there? All right, we're not going to get too far into it. I think Gaban is just a freaky dude, and he would be happy to do something like that. What's funny is that Gaban, like, Frankie's a really large human, so it would be even more of a size disparity than that with Gaban. Emperor Beast Kaido, thanks for the 5. Searching up gorilla cock measurements, Lord. Yeah, it's just, sometimes it's for science, man. You just gotta learn it. This is for survival. It's for survival. It's how do you deal with a gorilla in the wild, you know? Continuing on. Average 576, thanks for the 5. Have you seen the movie Treasure Planet? It reminds me of One Piece. I highly recommend. Treasure Planet is an underrated movie. It's good. I like Treasure Planet quite a bit. It's tricky because it's a good movie. At the same time, I can understand why it wasn't the most successful Disney movie. It's hard to explain. Like it checks off a lot of things and like I think the emotional character arc at the crux of it, and especially the villain storyline, is really, really fucking well done. It's just the fucking also, I kind of, before, when I was younger, my dad tried to get me to read the book Treasure Island, and I got some ways into it, but it was a little dry, and I was very young, so I didn't pursue it. I don't know why I brought that up, but like, yeah, I think about that too when I think about Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet is a very good movie. I think it just lacked certain things that I think a lot of the Disney movies that were very successful at the time, they needed some more element. Maybe it's because it was focusing on like real human. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on. I think it's not as epic as something like Lion King or Mulan in terms of like. It is really more of an adventure story. It's not got like the really fun zany fantasy like mythos of like Hercules or Aladdin with like lots of magic and shit like that. It's even in comparison to what is it? Fucking what was it? Tarzan. I think kids are often drawn to like stories with lots of animals. So I think that might be why Tarzan really succeeded. It's hard to place why Treasure Planet, even though it's got a good character story at the center of it, didn't ultimately become like super successful. And I feel like that was something towards the tail end of Disney's 2D animated features, which is just, there were still good movies that they were putting out. I think they were just, maybe they weren't updating their game as much as they should, or they kind of strayed away from the stuff that was really working. I'm not sure. It's an interesting point, but it is a good movie. Deshaun the Champ Hampton, thanks for the 5. Morj, you must be really feeling yourself after that Wano video, after that Mural video. If you think you just cooked with that gorilla rabbit hole you went down, nah, bro, terrible. No, that's good information. That is legitimately good information. Charitard, thanks for the 2. King of Lightning said he wanted to get you, Tekking, and Par on. I don't know, man. I'll wait for the invites or whatever. I'll wait for the invites. I'll see. It's again. I'm happy to talk to all of those people. I like all of those people. I do legitimately like all of those people. Generally, like a lot of the YouTubers that I go way back with. Like I do like talking to them, collabing with them, etc. It's just especially if it's like several YouTubers to get together, then it's just like now we really got a scheduling issue, and it's probably gonna fucking end up on a Saturday. So I don't know, man. I'll see. Marco Cadillo, thanks for the 5. As Garp said, justice will prevail. Ask chat to vote if delaying should result in 20 points. Let the people decide. Hashtag justice. Hashtag no more dictatorship. All right, fine. I'll cave. I'll do a poll. Okay. Should changing stream time delay... should changing stream time add 20 points? We will let justice prevail. Let us see what the people choose. ISIS1155, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 16 months. If Gaban is the MMBF, man marked by flames, Shanks has all 4 glyphs. Oh, that'd be insane. What's this? What's going on in the poll? You guys think I'm just a good guy? Oh, shit. You know, I appreciate that. Because sometimes, I know that we joke and stuff a lot, you know, but sometimes it's good just to feel appreciated, you know? Sometimes it's good to just hear some nice things, you know? So I do appreciate that. You guys don't have to say stuff like that, but look, saying stuff like that, it's not like it's going to make me happy or anything like that, to quote Chopper. I do appreciate the kind words. I do appreciate democracy. I appreciate hearing the voice of the people. This really means something. I'm serious. Just seeing in poll format that you feel like I'm a good guy. I do appreciate this. Thank you, everyone. I feel like Robin when the Strats all showed up to save her from Annie's lobby. You know? That's how I feel right now. I just feel like embraced. Okay. All right, continuing on. I'm glad we did that poll. I'm glad that was a good idea. I'm glad we did that poll. Okay, continuing on. Where were we at? Yeah, if Gaban is the man mark... Is Gaban... Okay, separate poll. All right. Is Gaban the man marked by flames? Yes, no. He does have that flame thing. It's kind of weird to me if the Strats just get it handed to them. If they need to kick his ass to get it, they can do that. Mavahet Sadegi, thanks for the 5. I wonder what will be the combination race. What will happen if Manchuri and Ors got married? Oh my god. Again, literally, it would be like marrying like a speck of dirt. Like, it's so small. Like, again, I fucking forgot that Tentatas, relative to humans, Tentatas can ride bugs. That's how small they are. So if, yeah, it just doesn't, it's a Tentata relative to a giant is just, it's non-existent. A giant couldn't even see it. All right. Is Gaban the man marked by flames? No. I still feel like we're waiting on the man marked by flames because I feel like Oda's going to do a big sort of grand reveal. Or he would draw attention to the burn mark or something like that. I feel like it could be another red herring, but let's see. King G, thanks for the 5. Could Lunarians just be genetic mutations of the original sky people we saw on the moon using the sun with resources found on Earth? Oh, shit. That's a really, really... Holy shit. King G. That is a great idea. That is a phenomenal idea. If early moon people came down and through the sun that they found on Earth, or if the sun they brought or something, or like with mother... If Lunarians who are gods or whatever are literally just the same as moon people that fucking gained more power, that would be really cool. I love that idea. And then Oda could go into this whole thing about, like, you know, maybe the moon people also face depression under Lunarians or something. Maybe you can go into cycles and ideas like that. Like, they gain more power, they made themselves gods. I love that idea. That's a really interesting possibility. Prophet, thanks for the 2. Dawson Dada equals Angels, Giants, Birkins, a.k.a. Uruj. Uruj is really big. That's a cool idea. And I hope we see Uruj in this arc too. I did not think about that. Love that idea. Charatar, thanks for the 5. Could Haki be a remnant of this ancient energy that can't be used? I have a feeling that Haki has some relation to this will that created devil fruits. I feel like Haki is something that might be intrinsic. Like, man is just able to do it. I don't know if they needed the sun for that. I feel like dream energy might be that, but it's too speculative right now to actually say. Raul, thanks a lot. Hey, Morj, the lads, I still want an answer from last stream. Who's your favorite OnlyFans creator? I do not follow that. I don't know why anybody would, because I just don't know how society changed, because there's free it's all free. Everything's free. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know why anybody would, like, it doesn't make sense, because, like, there's so much. If you want to watch, you know, whatever you want to watch, nothing is fucking pay. It's all free. It's free. I just am confused by why people, it just doesn't even make sense to me why OnlyFans as a model works and exists, because it can only service dumb people who don't know that free things exist, right? It would be almost like, I don't know, like, I guess it's like people that go and buy bottles of water when water is free generally. Well, no, you got to pay water bills. I'm sure there's a better analogy for this, but it's not a real thing. Cheritar, thanks for the 5. Ironically, you centered your YouTube channel on a manga heavily based on the book you found too boring to read. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Captain T, thanks for the 20. Thanks so much, man. Seriously, holy shit, you've done a lot this stream. Dosun is an onomatopoeia for hammer striking, so that's why that fisherman was called Dosun. I believe it's a race of blacksmithing dwarves, hybrids of Tontadas and giants. Tontada and giant hybrids is too disgusting for me to think about, but I do think the rest of what you're saying is possible. Sea Kings mention a clan capable of fixing Noah. They could be the ones the Sea Kings were referring to. That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. Because we are trying to figure out which clan that was. For a bit, I thought it might be the Kazukis, because the Kazukis were also known as smiths at a certain point in time. Like, they created the poneglyphs. Wano was known as a land that was very good at smithing and stuff like that. But I'm looking at the modern-day Kazuki, and I'm like, Momonosuke is not smithing jack shit. So hopefully there's some other clan that they were talking about. Because if Momonosuke is the smith we're looking for, they're fucking, like, Noah's fucked. Why can't Frankie fix Noah? I feel like that would be better. J.K. Kane, thanks for the 2. Do you think Blackbeard knows the true history yet? I think he might know pieces of it, but not all of it. Vinny, thanks for the 3. Recent video was fired. Now where's the Wano analysis? There's gaps between the big videos, so now there's going to be a little bit of a gap between the Wano analysis. But I will say I feel very motivated after that video to try and get out the Wano analysis very soon. 02657, thanks to the 2. 50 gifted subs at 600 likes. Holy shit, guys, you heard it here first. This might be a stretch. Let's try and get it there. If we get the stream to 600 likes, 02657 is going to gift 50 memberships to the people. So if you want a membership, let's try and get the stream to 600 likes. Let's see if we can do it. We're not that far. We're most of the way there. Let's see if we can do it. 50 people in chat will get memberships. So let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can bump the stream likes up a lot. L, thanks to the 2. The poll is rigged. We want justice. The poll was not rigged. Come on now. The poll was not rigged. I said man marked by flames, yes or no. It was a very straightforward poll. Come on now. Anime Dimension, thanks for the 5, part 1. On the last page of chapter 1104, Viz translation, Saturn said that Kuma had the blood of a lost people, not an extinct people. Okay, let's see where you're going with this. Thanks for the other 5. Part 2. Oh, shit, we just jumped to 453. Oh, shit, we're jumping. All right, we're going to hit 500 really quick. Let's get to 500 first. Then we'll do our big push to 600. We should be able to do it with the number of people that we have in stream. Part 2, I think a special trait is similar to Zoan Devil Fruits, which have a will of their own and exhibit unique abilities. I don't know about that. I still feel like Kuma's a Buccaneer. I feel like that's what's like a... I think the phrasing, I'm not going to read too much into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Buccaneers are able to house multiple personalities or something, or like different souls, kind of like some people have speculated that Blackbeard has the souls of his 2 sisters inside of him or something like that. So I don't know. All right, we're almost at 500. Let's see if we can get the stream likes up to 500 real quick. Hiyo, thanks for the 5. I think the new God's Nights that's coming will be the Man Marked by Flames. That would be cool. I think that would be a really, really cool reveal. Anime Dimension, thanks for the 10. Part 3, I also believe that Buccaneer blood played a role in the creation of Devil Fruits, possibly influencing their mysterious powers and how they interact with users, especially Zoan-type fruits. Oh, shit, okay. Buccaneer blood played a role in the creation of Devil Fruits. Okay, I could see that. I just don't know how it would all connect, because, like, Devil Fruit users, like, they come from Devil Fruits at the end of the day, and I don't know how Buccaneer blood would lead to the creation of Devil Fruits. But I see what you're saying. Like, I feel like I could see what you're saying, because there's something to the body of Buccaneers that tells us something about how Devil Fruits work. I'll leave it at that. Also, I do unfortunately have to call stream somewhat soon. Let's see if we can get the stream likes up to 500. If we get it up to 500, I'll keep going a bit long, and we'll see if we can get it to 600. 02657, thanks for the 5. Your views went from 950 to 850 after the gorilla talk. Hey, listen, I'm not going to hold back on scientific fact to help the people of stream if necessary. Nerve AMB Maker, thanks for the 10. Is it me, or does Zoro appear more similar to Luffy than other right hands to their captains? Most vice captains appear as being a voice of reason, whereas Zoro often indulges in Luffy's excesses. So it's interesting because, like, I think that if you were to just look at the Roger dynamic with Rayleigh and Scopper, it feels almost like Rayleigh and Scopper are more on the same page frequently, whereas if you look at the Monster Trio dynamic, it feels like Zoro and Luffy are more on the same page. I don't think that says that much. I think that the dynamics are just different because Oda's not doing a carbon copy. It almost feels like if I read, like, just going back to read other chapters that featured Gaban, such as Strong World, such as 1096, such as the Odin flashback, it almost feels like Gaban in many ways is very similar personality-wise to Roger. And Rayleigh is kind of the more cool, level-headed one in most situations. Zoro is similar to Luffy in that he partakes in many of Luffy's excesses and his recklessness and his sort of like, his kind of like tunnel vision mentality sometimes when it's just like, ignore this bullshit, we just focus on stuff that seems important to us or whatever. But at the same time, Zoro is much more stoic and harsh than Luffy in a lot of different ways. Luffy's a much more emotional person, whereas Zoro is very much like a more hard-assed, cold person in many situations. So it depends on the situation, I would say. Ursalia, thanks for the 5. Does Kid even have Zoe's poneglyph? I thought Law only gave him Wanos for earning it. Feels like Luffy, Shanks, and Blackbeard are all supposed to be at 3. I think that they're... Oh, we're almost at 600 likes. If we get to 600 likes, we'll keep stream going for a little bit longer, and 50 of you will get gifted memberships from 02657. So let's see if we can hit that. Feels like Luffy, Shanks, and Blackbeard are all supposed to be at 3. So I feel like there will be an evening out of poneglyphs by the end of Elbaf because we do need a sort of race to One Piece. So I think Luffy will have his 4, but I think other groups will also be able to get their 4 by the end of it. Marco Cadillo, thanks for the 5. Morj is a Celestial Dragon confirmed. He's going to keep delaying streams to avoid points. He abuses his power. Not cool. Hashtag Morj is Shamrock. Hashtag rigged system. Listen, I'm not going to... If I delay stream without a good... We've talked about this many times before. This has come up many times before. I'm allowed to delay stream if it is well in advance. Hold on. I think 10 minutes. Okay. I'm allowed to delay stream if it's well in advance. So I can't delay stream if it's like 30 minutes or something like that. But this was over an hour in advance. This was a solid time in advance. This is like an hour and a half in advance. I'm allowed to delay stream in those scenarios because shit happens. Life takes place. Things happen. I can't control everything, right? So things happen. So I'm allowed to delay stream in those contexts, but I can't do something crazy like, like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or something in advance. I always got to give proper notice. So I'm allowed to do it in those contexts, but generally speaking, the goal is that like I stick to the stream time and I can make some adjustments if the day is going in a certain direction. Because keep in mind, aside from this, I got to do a whole bunch of other shit. I got to review the chapter. I got to record next Tuesday's video, yada, yada, yada. This is all stuff that is ultimately better for the viewer, better for the channel in the long run. It just doesn't seem that way at this moment in time because the stream got delayed 30 minutes. But I did it in advance. The whole goal of the late penalty system was to make me be more courteous and considerate of the time of the people. I think that in the spirit of me being considerate of the time of the people, if I'm changing the stream time in advance, that's still me being, me still valuing the time and scheduling of the people. The whole goal is that you guys can trust now that the stream time that is scheduled is going to be roughly when the stream starts. So as long as I'm setting that in advance, right, I can make some changes in advance. I don't want people sitting there, though, for like 30 minutes waiting for the stream to start after I already scheduled it for a certain time, right? So if I'm going to change the stream time, I'll do it well in advance so that people know that the time that's scheduled is going to be roughly when I'll show up. All right. Isis1155, thanks for the 550 gifted. It's 250 to put that in perspective. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Let's see if we could do that. Again, 02657. If we don't hit it, no worries. I appreciate the thought. We're at 540. Let's see if we can hit 600. Let's see if we can hit 600. We're almost there. Ancient Kingdom, for context, YouTube does take a good chunk of that type of stuff. But it's 250 donated straight up, which is insane. Ancient Kingdom had ropes in their society that absorb dream energy. Dreamcatcher, this is a mod bribe. This is a mod bribe. Isis, you've been here for a long time. Hold on. This is a mod bribe. I don't know. I feel like we got a lot of mods. Do we have a lot of mods right now? You're a member. You've been here so long. If we get into mod bribe stuff, I don't know. If you gifted 50, then I'd definitely make you a mod. 02657 is a mod, right? I should hope I've made you a mod a long time back. Yeah, you're a mod. Ancient Kingdom had ropes in their society that absorb dream energy. That's interesting. Dreamcatcher energy idea is interesting. Stretch, thanks for the 2. Gaban was temporary rocks via Davy backfight loss. Oh, that'd be crazy. I know. He was on Roger's side at God Valley, though, we saw. Hiya, thanks for the 2. Gaban's old personality gives more Nami than Sanji. So, like, if you're reading just this chapter, maybe, but, like, no, even then, I think, if you look at young Gaban, it's more so... Oh, shit! Oh, no, never mind. We're good. Sorry. Didn't mean to freak out. Okay. If you read older Gaban chapters, it's actually not... he's a fairly reckless individual himself who is, again, a pretty bold, brash character. It doesn't really give Nami. I think that because in this chapter we're getting him clashing with Roger because he's like, you need to understand the risks and stuff like that, that just means that he's not as reckless as Roger, but he does like to argue and push back against his captain because Gaban is also a big personality. So I guess in that sense, he's reeling him in a bit like Nami, but Gaban's own personality is fairly aggressive, assertive, reckless, kind of carefree. Again, if you go back and look at all the other past Gaban chapters. It's just that it seems like whatever Roger is suggesting here is too reckless for even Gaban to want to do. L, thanks for the 2. Hashtag Shamorj. Isaiah Davis, thanks for the 10. This might be early, but prediction. Luffy will win handily against Gaban because he's old. Gaban will be made young again by Bonnie to face Shamrock with Sanji while Luffy and Zoro deal with Loki. Hold on a second. I didn't even think about the fact that Bonnie could temporarily make certain characters younger as like a buff. That is such a cool idea. Imagine getting to see Gaban fight in his prime. That is a phenomenal... I love that idea. Phenomenal idea. That'd be really, really cool. I don't know if we would get to see that right now, but that is a really cool idea. Primo Showtime, thanks for the 5. What's up, Morj? Just got here. Just got to say, hope you have a great weekend, my boy. Whoever gets summoned near Scopper and Luffy, RIP. If they just kill him right away. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be Shamrock and them. I think it's going to be a solid battle. I think we're going to get to see some good action. I wouldn't be surprised if next chapter's cliffhanger is Shamrock and Gunko showing up in front of the Straw Hats. Primo Showtime, thanks for the 5. Also, Loki got stabbed in the stomach. Mural Giant has bad bandages around torso. That's an interesting point. I've seen a lot of people mention that the Mural Giant might be Loki. I've seen people say that it might be Loki. I think that is a cool possibility. That, like, Loki's a really exciting character. I would love to see him last in the long term. L, thanks for the 2. Stop playing hard to get and like the motherfucking stream. Yeah, we're almost there. I am going to call a stream in about 2 minutes if we don't get the stream likes up to 600. So let's see if we can do it for get it to 600. But this is about the time that I got to be wrapping up. So let's see if we can get 600 as a final push. If not, no worries. Yeah, I think that the idea that makes Bonnie's fruit broken. It does make Bonnie's fruit broken, I suppose, in a sense. But there's only so many characters alive in the One Piece world that I think at this point it's just Garp, Sengoku, really Gaban that we can really think of as like the characters that if brought back to their prime would be like very notable game changers. Maybe fucking Kong, I don't know. Oh, 25. We're almost there. 25 or 24 more likes. 24 more likes. Let's see if we could do it. Did I get Stretch's super, says Akash Panda? I don't know. Let me see. Sorry about that, Stretch. Let me see. Feel like I've been getting most everybody so far. Stretch, sorry. Gaban was temporarily... No, I got that. Temporarily rocks Viet. No, because we saw... Maybe very temporarily. Oh, 17 more. Let's go. Oh, shit. Only 6 more. Only 6 more, and we're there. We're almost there. 6 more likes. 6 more likes. We're almost there. Who's going to be the last... Oh, 3 more likes. 3 more likes to 600. 3 more likes, and we are hypothetically getting 50 gifted members. Let's see if we can get 3 more. 601. All right, everybody. All right, everybody. 02657. Holy shit. First of all, everybody, W's in the chat all around for 02657. Everybody pat yourself on the back for participating in the big stream push. 02657. Holy fucking shit, man. 100 gifted memberships. I don't even know what to say. You're amazing. I appreciate it. The people of chat appreciate it. 50 people in chat. Literally, I think 10%, more than 10% of viewers of this stream got memberships thanks to 02657. That is insane. 02657, thanks to the 2, says, I didn't actually think it would happen. I'm sorry, man, but you'd set the bar in a way. I didn't realize it was a doable bar, but I guess once the momentum got rolling, it just got rolling. All right, everybody. Holy shit. Yeah, we literally got over 100-something new members to the channel this just now. Everybody, make sure, like, if you're a new member, the biggest thing is that you can now listen to the Morjcasts. I think the last if you enjoyed last Tuesday's video, go watch the latest Morjcasts because it gives a whole bunch of extra information. They're podcasts that I drop every single week along with the video. So the video comes out. Along with the video, all my extended thoughts go in the podcast. This last video, the one that covered the mural, if you like that video, go watch the podcast that is associated with it now. You have access to it. It has a whole bunch of extended thoughts that also delve into reasons that the mural, like, it delves into additional reasons that I cut for time from the video. But I think you'll like that one. It's a great podcast to get started on if you're now a Yonko tier member for the first time. Isis1155, thank you for the 10W stream. End it with a bang. Yeah, this was a great ending to the stream. Seriously, 02657, cannot thank you enough, man. Good people in chat. Just keep those W's covered for 02657. Thank you so much. L, thank you for the 20. Let's fucking go. W02657, what a goat. Yeah, seriously, man. What a goat. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks so much, man. Really, really appreciate it. Glad you guys liked the chapter. Excited about Sanji's future, obviously, in the story. Excited about just general Monster Trio stuff. And we got an important Monster Trio video coming next Tuesday. If you have not yet watched the big mural breakdown video I did this last Tuesday, go check it out for real. It is probably the most unanimously hyped and well-received theory video that I've ever dropped on the channel. People seem to really, really resonate with it. So if you've not watched it, go watch it. If you've watched it and enjoy it, please go share that one, because a lot of effort, and I truly believe that that is one of the most comprehensive breakdowns of what the full story of One Piece likely is that you will see. So I would love as many people as possible in the community to be able to get their eyes on that. Just to get people talking. Marco Cadillo, this is the last super answer. Thanks to the 2. Debate with Shonen Showdown on Sabo being a bum. There's nothing to debate. It's like debating is the sky blue. Yes, you just got to look up and see what it is. I look at Sabo, I see, oh, fucking ass. That's all there's it. That's all there is to the debate. No debate to be had. Debate over. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, seriously, fantastic stream, 02657. Thanks again for being MVP. You all in chat are also MVPs in Eurosense, in that everybody participated in getting the stream likes up to 600, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, I will talk to you all later. Thank you very much.